There's a doc.
What up? What up? What's up, Tori? Yeah. What's happening? What's Gucci? What's up, YouTube? Uh-huh. Thanks, V. We definitely bite. We in this thing. Excuse me. What'd you say? You've been having a hard time since here that Jones. Hard time since. Having a hard time since the Jones foolery? I missed it. Thanks, Elisa. Yeah. Let's see the power we can ruin it if we try. Men and women have ruined it for themselves equally. How so? Shiny, get out of here. Cloud killer, please tell us how. Oh no, I'm here. It is. Hey, do what you gotta do, man. What up, Cloud Killer?
Look, people just say Cloud K because they don't like using.
Oh yeah. You're right. Cloud K. That's right. Hold on. Oh wait. So what are you saying now? You said men and women have ruined it for themselves. How so?
Because neither side wants to give any space to the other, right? So you got women that have like it's like why we choose to bear over men.
Okay.
And it's, I get the message. It sucks. It's not.
What's the message?
Because women don't appreciate the harm that men typically do to them in situations where they're alone, and they feel like, at least with a bear, it's gonna just do one thing to you, whereas a man can do, multiple things to you or whatever. So they choose the bear because men are unpredictable and they do worse things than just on a lot of people, whatever. So that's not the point, though. I'm just saying I get that, whatever. It sucks, but I get that's like a thing.
I think I think that is the point.
Oh, go on.
Because I'm saying, like, so if they're choosing the bear, and if you really understand why they're choosing the bear, then wouldn't that be the reason why men actually have ruined dating? You see what I'm saying? Like that they that men are so unpredictable, and the likelihood that a man is going to harm a woman, whether it be on the first date or the 50th date, the likelihood that a man is going to harm the woman is extremely high. Therefore, they are choosing a wild animal over the man, would be the very reason why men have ruined dating. Correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. But if you understand that, because you said, well, I understand why they say that, then how are you saying that it goes both ways?
So my bigger point is that neither group is giving any leeway to each other to be better. So there's no incentive for men to be better, and there's no incentive for women to be better. If both are part of this problem, they both have things to be better on, there's no incentive for either one to be better at all. What is the?
But what? That's what I'm saying. You haven't told me what women need to be better at.
So I guess, I mean, I'm not trying to really be up here like talking specifically about women, but if I got to pick like one specific thing, I guess it would be the how do I say this?
And I need. Hold on, wait, real quick before you answer. What I want you to do is, because you said it goes. You're saying it goes both ways. So I want you, whatever you're going to say about women, tell me the worst thing women do that affects the majority of men. Right, that the majority of men can say that they've experienced, they've gone through something like that, and then tell me the worst thing that men do to women that most women have experienced. Go ahead.
The worst thing that men do to women currently is verbal, like language, like the way they talk about men. That's currently the worst thing women do to men by far. Which
is what? Is that even anything?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a thing. So there's different levels, right? We can talk about it. I'm not saying that's worse. I'm not saying it's the same level of worse as men, but you asked what the actual worst thing is, and that is the worst thing.
Yeah. How does that harm? How does that harm men?
Harm? I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if we're talking about harm.
We are definitely talking about harm right now. Definitely. Just so we're both clear.
So if you're asking me what the worst thing women do that harms men, so you didn't say that specific word.
Oh, that's implied in that.
Okay, I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
The worst thing that women do to harm men, I guess, would be the rarities of like false accusations that get men.
No. Hold on. Okay. So again, remember, the question is still apply. It's still applicable. What is the worst thing women do to men that most men have experienced, will experience, or is experiencing right now? What is the worst thing women can do to a man?
So, I mean, your question is kind of confusing because there's no equivalent. So I can only give you the worst thing that women actually do, but it's not going to be equivalent to what men do. So there is a worst thing that women do.
Wait.
Them, but it's not equivalent to men.
But okay, now we have arrived at the point. So again, if they're not equivalent, then you can't say it goes both ways.
Well, it does go. It doesn't have to be equivalent for it to go both ways.
Yes, it does. It literally has to be. Yes, it does. That is what it goes both ways means, brother. It goes both ways doesn't mean women are perfect and men are not. And then you know what I'm saying? Like it goes both ways doesn't mean that men are terrible and women mess up too. Right? Sometimes, like, that's not, it goes both ways. It has to be women are terrible, men are terrible. It goes, the terribleness goes both ways, right? The harm goes both ways. If nobody is saying women are perfect, but you and I, neither one of us can say anything that women do to men as a group that the majority of men negative that the majority of men experience. Like, you don't have anything. I can't name anything, nor can any other man name anything. But we have a litany of stuff that men do to women that actually cause them harm. So wouldn't that actually prove that women haven't ruined the dating market at all whatsoever?
So, I mean, again, this prompt wasn't about harm. So this is a totally different section of the conversation that I'm kind of getting into now. Because what I was just talking about specifically was just dating and why dating is not conducive to each other. But if we're going down the road of like, what's the harm that men and women are doing to each other specifically, that has nothing to do with dating. That's just men and women, right?
It does have everything to do with dating, brother.
Wow, wait, hold on. Men can harm women outside of dating, though. So that's what I'm saying.
But when it comes to dating, When it comes to dating specifically, women have to worry about men, do they not?
Yes.
Okay, cool. In so many ways, right? Not just one way, in so physically, emotional, like in so many ways, women have to worry about men, right? Okay, cool.
Right.
Do men have to worry about women?
I mean, I guess technically, but not really.
No, exactly. That and what I'm talking about, rape, physical violence, emotional abuse, lying, manipulation, things of that nature. These are things that men do exponentially more than women, right? Not to say, because whatever I'm saying, let's say women, there is a woman or a small subset of women that do it too. Fine. But that wouldn't be enough to offset. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So now we cannot say that it goes both ways. That's what I'm saying. And it is all about harm. It has always been about harm, because that is what women are avoiding. You think women don't, you think the dating market is ruined because why? Because women don't like the way that men chew their dinner? Like, it is because of the way men treat women. It is because of the harm that men do to women. That is why the dating market is ruined, because of the behaviors of men, not because of the behaviors of women.
I just think that explanation is too broad, too easy. There's not any nuance there, because literally you just say women or men have ruined dating markets specifically and only then because they harm women. But
do you want me to tell you the ways in which men harm women to be nuanced? Because that's all I would have to do right now.
But that's not nuance. That's just general. Like,
that's not general. That would be nuance.
Explain that though. It's just
sir. Hold on. Wait. That would be nuanced. If I the only thing left for me to do, which I thought you already knew, because you keep saying, yeah, no, the things men do are way, but so I'm thinking you already know what men do. Do you need for me to lay it out for you? And then that would be the nuance. Then we're done.
Maybe I'm speaking from my own personal understanding of this and why it's vague and broad, because I guess I already understand the nuance that you're talking about and the different ways of harm. And that conversation is frankly a little more boring, because if you're just saying men need to stop harming women, okay, you're right. There's nothing to argue there. There's nothing to even talk about there. There's no discussion with that. Yes, men need to stop harming women. That's it. But then that's like the end of the conversation.
Yes.
And that's not really gonna, like, I guess I'm a little pessimistic when it comes to dating. Like I said at the beginning,
why are you pessimistic when it comes to dating as a man?
Because there's, well,
what do you have to worry about?
I'm saying overall dating.
Yeah, I'm saying what do you have to worry about? What do men have to worry about when it is so easy for a man to date nowadays? It is ridiculous.
You said it's easy for men to date?
It's extremely easy for men to date. It's extremely for men to date,
technically,
You said what?
I think it's easy for anybody to date technically.
No, it's not. It's when I say it's easy for men to find women like that are viable candidates. It's easy for a man to find like a decent woman, a woman that's not gonna lie to him, not gonna manipulate him, not gonna hurt him, whatever. It's super easy. Like, that's the vast majority of women, right? It is extremely hard for a woman to find a man that's not gonna do that to her. So dating is really easy for men, especially if you're like a halfway decent man, right? You got a job, you got an apartment, you got a car, you're not a complete, overt asshole to her, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. Pretty easy. Like, you could pretty much got the pick of the litter at this point. But for women,
I'm glad you back, bro. I'm glad you
hold
back.
on, man. Y'all be trying to get dropped, being weird. I don't understand it. But yeah, that's
to that point really quick, because it kind of derailed from what I was about to say, but to that point specifically, I mean, you could say that, but they're not, right? Like, you say it's easy for men to date, but men are still unhappy, men are still lonely, whatever the case is. So, like, regardless of you saying it's like easy,
because they're not good candidates, brother.
Well, but regardless, though, that's just not true. That if it's so easy for men to date, regardless of being bad candidates.
I'm sorry. You're right. Let me preface it by saying, if you are, which I did. Actually, I did.
Well, you just added it in, but that's not.
I didn't just add it in. I literally gave a descriptor of the type of men that I was talking about. I said, if you're not overtly,
yeah, you said if you're a halfway decent man.
Yes, I already put the descriptor in there. So yeah, again, for those men, it is extremely easy. If you're not one of those men, if you are a problematic man, yeah, it's more difficult for you to date nowadays than it was in the past because women are more vigilant now and they don't need a man. So they're not really interested in dating terrible men. But it's super easy if you are a halfway decent man. It's super easy. Like it's just like extremely easy for you to date. It's extremely easy for you. So if you find yourself not able to find a woman, that is 100% telling you right there. If you are struggling to find dates and to go on dates with women, that is because of you. That is because you are not a viable candidate, and you need to put a mirror up to yourself and really dig in and find out what's going on with me, because it should be really easy for me to find a woman to date right now. That's what I'm saying.
I don't disagree with anything you just said there. I just kind of want to get back to the thing I was saying before about the incentive for men, basically.
Okay.
So again, when we have these kind of conversations, these prompts and whatnot, the thing that no one can provide is the incentive for these not great men to be better men, right? We have all these
Yes, I
discussions
can.
about like,
I can.
what would you say the incentive is for, let's say you're talking to a man who's not a great man and somehow you were able to have a conversation with him. What is the incentive that you're going to give him to be a better person if he's already gone down like a red pill path or whatever?
He himself will be, it positively impacts your mental health if you become a better person. You know what I'm saying? Like you, like you, huh?
How would you know that though? It's just taking your word for it. Like, what's the real?
What do you? Wait. You're telling me to tell you what the incentive is. Now you're asking me, how do I know that? Because it's scientifically proven that if you're not an asshole, so to speak, you will feel better. You will have more confidence. You will be more successful. Like this is all true. So if you don't know that, then this is not my job to explain to you like how that's true right now. You're just asking me for the reasons. I'm telling you the reasons. That's one of them. That's number one. First and foremost, it helps you. You directly benefit from you being a decent human being. First and foremost, like without anybody being involved, you benefit directly. Number one. Then number two, obviously you get access to women. Like Jesus Christ, like you have deeper connections with your friend group. You have a deeper connection with your family. Like what are we? That's the benefit. Those are the benefits.
Okay, two things for that. One, you mentioned the statistics show. I think we can. I don't know your political affiliation, but I think we can.
Communist.
Okay, we can probably agree. People don't care about statistics because we saw a lot of statistics based off, let's say, the last 4 years of the presidency.
Men don't care about statistics.
Huh?
Men don't care about statistics that don't align with their worldview. I agree. People care about statistics. I think women care about statistics. Men generally don't care about statistics that don't align with their worldview. So if the thing that I'm telling you isn't going, if the stats that I'm giving you contradict or conflict with what you already believe, then you're going to push them as one in one ear and out the other.
All right. Well, that's kind of what I'm saying, though. It's like when we look at, like, let's say the last 4 years of presidency, we have statistics that show we have done better as a country overall. But then because someone said some things that make people feel better, that's the person who gets voted.
No, we don't. We don't. There aren't statistics that say we're doing better as a country overall. By what metric are you measuring this by?
I mean, I don't want to really. It's fine if you don't agree with that. That's okay.
No, I mean,
I just don't think
it's not true. That's what I'm saying. It's just not true.
Fine if you don't think it's true. I don't want to get into politics. I was just using this as a random example.
Okay.
That's the first part. The second part. People do not want to be introspective and see themselves as a villain. So when you're trying to tell somebody to be a better person, if they're, let's say, like an incel dude or whatever the case is, that requires them to admit that they are the bad guy in their current story, and they will not do that. And I think they won't do that. And that's why I'm saying there's so much.
What's the point of you? I'm not arguing if men will do it. That's not the point. You just asked me what is the benefit, and I told you the benefit. I know men don't want to do it. Men are terrible people. Why would they want to be better people? Like men, not. Sir, listen to what I'm saying. That's not. Hold on. That doesn't mean there's no incentive. That just means men are men are married to the idea of being a terrible human being.
So then how do we change that, right?
That's not, men have to change that. You have to change that. Like, you have to do it. You, me, we have to change it. We have to choose to be better people.
To do it. If it's easier,
We're going, hold on. We're going, hold on, brother. We're going in circles. It isn't easier to be an incel. It's harder to be an incel.
100% it is. Absolutely.
It's not. It's not.
Why do you think it's not?
I know it's not. It takes more energy. It takes more energy to be that person. It takes more energy to be an incel. It takes more energy to be negative. That's what I'm saying.
It takes more energy for a guy that follows red pill to believe in that stuff than it does for him to look within himself to be a better person.
Yes, it takes more energy because you have to fight. You have to fight logic and nature and you have to. Being red pill it's antithetical to nature. It's antithetical to the way that we should be as human beings. Like, not being a human, because red pill teaches men to not be human. It dehumanizes us, right?
Sure.
To be dehumanized goes against nature. So you have to, and that's why the propaganda is so insidious. That's why it never stops. If it was easy, if it was our natural state, it wouldn't take all of this propaganda to convince men to be this way.
So my quick counterpoint to that then would be, why was it so easy for red pill to take off if it wasn't so natural for people to feel that way?
It's not, again, it's not natural. It's not natural. Right. It is socially ingrained in men to be misogynistic. So when you come with something that is rooted in misogyny, people pick it up easily. But red pill is just repackaged. All it is misogyny. That's all it is. Just a more extreme version of misogyny. That's all it is.
That was so easy for men to fall into, is what
because men have been conditioned to. We've been conditioned to think that way by society, by all the propaganda.
You're sort of agreeing with me that it is easy, which means the opposite would be tough to not be a part of that once you fall.
It's not, brother. You literally are not listening to what I'm saying. We have been propagandized by the powers that be. We have been propagandized to be misogynistic. If you stopped listening to the propaganda, it will be extremely easy for you to not be misogynistic. That's the thing that is keeping you misogynistic, is the propaganda. And that shit never stops. It's in the movies, it's in the music, it's in your food, it's in your clothing, it's everywhere, it's all around you all the time. That's how it works. And they know as soon as the day they stop doing that, the day men and whoever, women, whoever, they just go, well, shit, because it's not natural. They go, well, damn. Okay, it's like that's why they call it a pill. Like in the movie, you take the red pill one time, but in reality, you're constantly taking the red pill. You take it like a prescription. You prescribe to it, right? You take it every 4 hours, every 30 minutes, whatever it is, to keep you sedated, to keep you in that frame of mind. The day you stop taking the pill, the day you wake up, and it's super easy. That's what I'm trying to say. It's easier to just not take the pill and wake the fuck up. That's what I'm saying. But men don't want to do that.
Okay, so I'm just trying to get this straight. You think it is easy to be introspective?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I mean, I very much disagree with that, but I can appreciate you saying that.
It's super easy to be introspective.
If that is the case, then why do you feel like most people are not introspective? I
don't think most people are introspective. I don't think most people struggle with introspection. I think the vast majority of men struggle with introspection. I don't think the vast majority of women struggle with it.
Okay, I'll just accept what you just said.
Okay.
That's still 150 million people, or, vast majority, let's say 100 million men in this country then still struggle with that. But if it was easy, then why is it not happening?
We're going in circles. I just explained to you why it's not happening.
But it's easy. So I'm just saying, if it's such an easy thing,
it's not easy.
But you just said it was.
It's not easy to break away from to stop taking the prescription. It's not easy to escape the propaganda, is my point. I'm not denying that, because
that's what I mean by introspection. Then I guess maybe we weren't understanding each other.
What do you mean?
Well, you're saying it's not easy to escape the propaganda. I agree, that's true, and that's what I mean when I say it's not. I don't think it's easy for people to be introspective. What I mean by that is like to look into yourself and realize you're in some sort of propaganda like bubble, and to escape from that. I don't think that's
Yeah,
easy.
it's hard to escape out. Yes, okay, cool. I was saying something different then. I'm saying once you stop taking the pill, it's super easy. That was my point. Breaking away, not taking the red pill, but every day you wake up, you choose to take the red pill though. That is literally a choice. It's not like like you literally wake up, you choose to listen to Andrew Tate. You choose to listen to Kevin Samuels. You choose to go to these lives and engage with this, you know what I'm saying, with this red pill, like you are literally making that choice every single fucking day. So all it would take is for you to not make that choice one day. Like I've literally seen it. I've seen the red pill rhetoric get disrupted one day, like one time, and the man was off to the races. Like he was like, oh shit, and did a complete 180. Because that's how easy it is once you choose not to, to engage with it. Once you choose not to do it, it's super easy to get. It's like, oh shit, all you got to do is just be willing to do it. That's it. That's all it is. As soon as you do that, super easy.
I think we have a pretty equal and base understanding of that. So I pretty much agree. Like once you're out, it is easier, for sure. I wouldn't even say easy, but I'd say easier, absolutely. So then back to kind of what I was saying. Then when you're in, right? Let's say when you're in the bubble of red pill, right? This again, I know you're going to say circular, but this again is kind of what I'm getting at. Is what is the incentive for a person who's in the red pill currently, indoctrinated into red pill? They feel like they're being heard. They feel like their message is finally being talked about. Why would they leave that space? What's the incentive for them to leave that space, as opposed to just thinking you're just full of poop?
Because they get to have deep connections with their family and their friends and with women. The thing that they're claiming they want, the thing that's driving them up the wall, like that's the thing. They're lonely. That's their thing, right? Like, I'm lonely. Okay, cool. You're lonely. Okay. You don't want to be lonely anymore? Yeah, I don't want to be lonely anymore. Okay. Well, you have to become a human being and you won't be lonely anymore. You will have friends. I'm not saying you will get married and you have kids. I'm not telling you no dream or nothing like that. No lie like that. I'm saying if you can break free, you will become a better person and people will like you more, and you will allow yourself to be vulnerable, which will allow for you to have deeper connections with people, and you will cease to be lonely. Do you want to continue to be lonely? No, I don't want to be lonely. Okay, cool. That's the cure. The cure isn't let me trick women or let me create policies and laws to force women into being into being with me and being in my presence. Therefore, I feel like I'm not lonely, because oftentimes those men are still lonely. Even the men that have the women close to them, they're still lonely. That's the crazy thing about it. Like, they have a woman. If you don't appreciate your woman, you're more than likely still going to feel lonely and disconnected. So you still don't have the connection that you crave. So it would defeat itself just to be like, yeah, get a woman or whatever. Like, you're lost. You're still lost. So the way to cure it is for you to be a fucking human being, for you to allow yourself to feel things and to be empathetic and to listen and to, you know what I mean, and develop your character and to not be a liar and to not be a manipulator and all of those things, and actually be a likable human being for once. There you go. Wow, isn't that crazy? Now you're a likable human being. Now people like to be around you. Now your friends want to talk to you. Like, that's what happens. That's the thing.
Okay, I mean, I think a lot of men that get pulled into red pill probably thought themselves the person you just described prior to getting pulled in there, and didn't have success in their relationships up to that point. So this is just what I'm getting from anything red pill that I've heard or read or seen or whatever the case is. They feel like they were already the men. They're good, they're nice, they're funny, people like them, blah, 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 but they got really poor results in dating. So they get pulled in a red pill. So then if they do hear somebody like you who does have good advice, if they hear somebody like you say, hey, just do this, they're gonna of course come back at you with like, yeah, I already tried that, didn't work. So like,
Yeah,
what
but
is
it,
all
but
that then?
yeah, I mean, they're lying though. So they could say they feel like that. They don't feel like that. They know they know that they were falling short. They know that they actually weren't the person that they're just trying to gaslight you. They gaslight us the same way they gaslight the women that they were in relationships with. So I don't believe them, because women don't leave good men. Women aren't running away from good men, from healthy, healed men. Women aren't running away from them. Again, those men have access to women. They have access to women. Not to every woman or any woman, but they have access to women. So I'm like, that's obvious. Like, I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's super obvious. So it's just it's something that men need to, the men you're talking about, they either are going to adjust or die. And that's what they're doing. They're like literally perishing because they don't have access. Valley said, therapy will help you break away from red pill. Absolutely. Beverly Jackson said, the worst thing women do is find happiness without them. They can't handle us being happy without them because they can't be happy without women. Damn. Beverly said, pro tip, showering, brushing teeth, and being a better person is something you do for yourself, not others. 5 on this guy. Bet. I'm gonna let double double.
Can I just say one more thing real quick, and then you go to double?
Go ahead.
Just really quick. First, enjoy this conversation with you. I didn't even know I was already following you, but I see you reposting stuff all the time. I thought you were the lawyer dude, but based off your profile picture, it's like the lawyer that's always like doing TikToks. Anyway, but yeah, we were posting a lot of the same stuff. So cool, I got to talk to you. Second thing, real quick, I just want to kind of throw out there, I think hopefully we can normalize being able to have a conversation with potentially opposing views without people assuming that the opposing view is a part of like the community or whatever the case. I see a lot of comments that don't matter really, but I just want to kind of put out there, it's okay to have a conversation about something, that you don't agree with or that somebody else doesn't agree with, without being like a part of red pill or being lonely or whatever the case is. I'm not dating anybody, just to put that out there, but not a red pillar, not trying to date at the moment, just kind of feeling, and I find these conversations interesting and I like when they're productive. So that's it.
Bet. Go ahead, double. Go ahead, double.
Oh man, I'm glad to see you again, public.
Thanks, man. Who is this? I don't know who you are.
Oh, you don't remember me? That mean you argue with a lot of people, mama. You know I'm your worst nightmare. But how have women ruined the dating market? Oh yes, let's use those talking points. Unrealistic dating standards.
Like what?
Unrealistic expectations.
Like what?
Oh, experience farming.
Hold on, wait. Like what? Name the expectations that women have that most women have. Name them.
You know they want that 666.
I don't. I've only heard men say that.
Oh, I hear women say it all the time.
No, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Show me one video. Show me the videos of women saying that's what they want. Show them to me. I'll send them to me. I'll watch them. You've never heard a woman say that. That's not you've never come in contact with a woman. You've had the conversation with her, and she was like, I want 6 feet, 6-pack, and 6 figures. And I will not budge. I'm not going to date a man if he doesn't have those 3 things. You haven't heard one woman say that ever in your whole entire life. It's never happened to you.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
No, you haven't. You're lying. Why do you see? This is the thing. If you're going to have the conversation, have it genuinely, right? I have you, like you just said, you acknowledge, you said, oh, you argue with a lot of people. Fine. Yes, you're right. I've talked to thousands of people, right? I think I engage with this content more than most people do, more than the vast majority of people do. I'm telling you that the only people, first of all, let me ask you a question. Who is the first person to coin that phrase? Who coined that phrase? 666.
Well, Kevin
said, a man. So we could already start off with the fact that the source of the phrase is a man. Right? Okay, cool. So he made it up, not a woman. He made it up. Then moving forward, I'll ask you again. even I'll change it from have you ever heard it, because you're going to say you heard it. Okay, fine. Who do you hear talk? Who do you hear say it the most, men or women?
Oh, women, right?
Again, that's a lie. That's a lie.
No, that's
Okay.
true.
So if I looked up,
Different kinds of women describe them as tall, dark, and handsome.
that's not 666, sir. Tall is relative.
All of that entails, though.
It doesn't. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. Hold on. It doesn't entail. That's not the right phrase to use. Secondly, saying a man is tall, if a woman is 5'2", tall is 5'7", 5'8", 5'10" to her. So you don't know what tall is to her. Specifically, 6 feet, 6 inches, a 6-pack, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, 6 figures. Because once you do those 3 things, what percentage of men do you think those 3 things collectively apply to?
The top 10%.
No, way high. No, less than that.
Yeah.
10%? 10% of men don't make $100,000. Black men specifically. I don't know about 10% of white men. I don't know. Maybe 10% of white men do. But 6% of black men make 6% of black people make $100,000. What percentage of men are 6 feet? Are 10% of men 6 feet?
Oh, no, oh heavens.
No. Okay. And do 10% of men have a 6-pack?
Oh heavens, no.
Okay. Do 10% of men? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, 10% of men do have over a 6-inch penis, but they don't even say 6 inches. Whatever. But yeah. So right there, we know that's just dumb, right? Because what percentage of men and women are in relationships? What percentage? Are most men and women in relationships or have been in relationships?
Oh, have been, yes. Are in relationships? No.
Most people are in relationships right now, but have most people been
What kind of relationships?
any type of relationship?
Situationship.
No, situationship is made up. That's some stupid shit. Most people, it doesn't matter. Most people are in a relationship. The vast majority of people have been and or are in a relationship. So yes. So if that's the case, but the numbers you're talking about only applies to the top 2% of people, then wouldn't that mean that what you're saying actually isn't true? If women's expectations are so high, then how did you ever get a woman? Because you don't meet any of that criteria.
I don't meet any of it?
No, you're not 6 feet, you don't have a 6-pack, and you don't make 6 figures. Because if you did, you wouldn't be up here lying about that stuff, saying their expectations are too high.
I think I'm only missing one of those, and it's forced.
What?
Yeah, I think I'm only missing one of those, and it's forced.
Which one?
I don't think I'm 6 foot.
I know you're not 6 foot. You make 6 figures? What do you do? What state?
I'm in real estate, brother.
Okay. The percentage of real estate agents that make 6 figures it's like 2%. But anyway.
I'm an agent, brother.
You're not an agent?
Mm-hmm.
You're a broker.
Mm-mm.
What do you mean you're in real estate? I feel like you told me this lie before. But anyways, so let me get this straight. And here's how it never makes sense to me. So you, a man who meet 2 out of the 3 criteria, right? And I'm not saying you're short, but you're just not 6 feet, right? But you meet 2 of the 3 criteria, but you're up here saying that women's expectations are too high. Make that make sense.
Oh yeah, they are. They are.
So what group of men are you fighting for? Because you don't even belong to that group of men.
The majority of them.
So you're fighting for
of the relationships are trashy and are unrealistic and are they don't really have a base of love.
a base of love, yeah, because men don't love women.
You think men don't love women? I beg to differ, Pablo. I beg to differ. Yes, wide eyes. Yes, I love that. I beg to differ, Pablo.
All right, I'm gonna let Wilfred get in here real quick, and then we open it up. Go ahead, real fraud. Is it Will Fraud or Wilfred? I'm sorry.
It's just call me Will. It's fine.
Will, okay, go ahead, brother.
So I don't think women particularly ruin the dating market. I think we do play a part. Like women and men play a part. Men play a larger part, but women do have things that maybe they can improve on.
Mm-hmm. What role do men play?
Oftentimes, The biggest role is, again, they have not adapted to the current dating market.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you said it, they don't, I just noticed that men don't really love women, or at least they don't pick the qualities that they should love within women.
Mm-hmm. So okay. And then how do women contribute to it?
Oftentimes it's the use of like traditional, like old values that we have, but it does not fit the current contemporary modern dating market.
Wait, you're saying women?
Yeah.
So you think women are more traditional than men?
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, so again, so what are women? How are women contributing to it in general? So most women, that's what I'm trying to figure out. What are most women doing to contribute negatively to the dating market?
So most women still have expectations of traditional values from men, but also still wanting a more modern dating market.
Like what?
Modern dating experience.
Like what?
Like simple things like being providers, being masculine, things like that.
Hold on. So you think most women are looking for a man to 100% financially support her?
No, not 100%.
Okay, so it wouldn't be an old school, because that's what happened in the old school.
No, it didn't.
That is what happened.
African Americans, no, that's not true at all.
Okay, so you're saying that black women worked, which they did.
Yes,
Yeah.
they did.
Got you.
But men still paid almost times like mostly like majority. They focused on the majority of the bills, while women did the majority of the housework. That was like a very traditional relationship.
And you think most women want that now?
No, they want the men to still focus on the traditional monetary version of paying for all the bills.
All the bills. So they want the men to pay for all the bills. That's what I asked you.
Okay, this is your speech. I'm just speaking. I'm saying.
Okay, you got to say what you mean, because I'm not. What are you saying?
They want men to pay for the majority and be responsible fiscally for the majority of the relationship,
okay,
while also changing the various things like a woman being fiscally responsible for the majority of the housework.
That doesn't make wouldn't apply there. But can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? Has capitalism changed to the point to where women and men make the same amount of money?
No.
Okay. So wouldn't it stand to reason that a woman would still expect a man to pay the majority of the bills?
No.
That doesn't make sense.
It does.
How? So in a marriage, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A woman has most people have kids in a marriage, right? So
yes.
So now you have kids, and women make significantly less money than men because they have children, and men make more money, right?
That's a different relationship type.
That's not a different relationship type. This is the most common, sir. This is the most common relationship.
What statistic do you have for that?
That the majority of people have children.
That the majority that most women have earning significantly less than their partner? That's not true.
Hold on. That's not what I said. I said, again, the majority of women and men have children, and at some point in time are in a relationship with each other, with said children. Okay. When that happens, the woman makes significantly less money than she did prior to her having children, and the man makes more money than he did prior to him having children. So why wouldn't she expect him to pay the majority of the bills?
That is a different situation, a scenario.
Hold on. Because it's not different. It's common. It's the most common scenario. Hold on. Time out. Listen to what I'm saying. Again, most people have children, correct?
Yes.
Okay. When they have these children, most people are in relationships, correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So wouldn't this apply to most relationships and most people?
It would not apply because you're creating a situation that doesn't exist. It's a temporary situation where a woman has a child when the child is very young, or when they just had a child and the parent and the mother has lost income. It's a temporary situation that only lasts for a couple of years.
No, but just so you know though, how much money does a woman lose in a couple of years when she has to not work or take a pay cut or can't work as many, whatever the case may be? How much money do you think she loses versus if she had never had kids? Guess, how much money do you think she would lose over the span of her lifetime?
I think around, if that's from the head, right, like $20,000-$30,000.
No, way higher, way higher, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So yeah, it is a significant drop off for women. Women make significantly less money when they have kids. They are penalized by our society. Capitalism has not corrected that, even since the 50s, since the 40s, since the 30s, since whenever. It's still happening today. So it actually would make sense rationally for a woman to expect a man, because most people have children, to expect a man to be able to pay the majority of the bills. That is not an unfair expectation whatsoever. That is very rational.
That is when they are still having, that's when they're having children.
Most people have kids, man. You have to give that up.
Is there only a point where you don't have children in a relationship?
Again, we've already addressed this. When most people have kids, women lose money. Men have to compensate for that loss. That's just the reality. Because you impregnated her. They're your kids too. So you must make up the difference as the man.
Yes, that makes sense at the time, but there's relationship, that's when you're having
that never stops. Like, what are you not understanding? It never stops. You never catch up. You never catch up. The women never catch up with the money they lost. They never catch up.
They never catch up with the money lost, but they can still contribute to the relationship.
Hold on, time out. Hold on. You can't blow past that. You can't say they never. Exactly. They never catch up.
Again, I'm not verified statistics, so I cannot.
Of course you haven't verified the statistics. You don't know anything about them. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Go look them up.
I can't trust just what you say.
Sir, hold on. Time out. I'm not you can argue against what I'm saying, but you would have to have some basis of knowledge, which you don't. You have none. You're just making this up as you go along. I'm not. So you cannot believe me, but we're not going to continue the conversation with you literally just making shit up to argue against verifiable facts that I'm stating right now. I'm not about to argue, sir. I'm not about to allow you to argue your opinion versus the facts. That's boring.
No, you're not saying a fact, though.
What I'm saying are verifiable facts.
Referring to the relationship.
What
they earn, what they have potentially lost is a value, but what they continue to earn afterwards, that can still be.
Oh my God, you're not listening. This is so crazy. Let's say before, I'm going to do it mathematically so you can maybe see it with numbers. So before she has kids, she makes $70,000 a year.
Yes.
She has a child. She takes off time. She is not going to be able to get back into the market and make $70,000 a year. She's going to have to get back into the market and take a significant pay cut. She probably will make $50,000 a year or $55,000 a year, let's say, right? Cool. Already subtract the money she has already lost because she had to stop working to go take care of the kids. Even like you said, for 1 or 2 years, that's $140,000, bro. Already. She's already $140,000 in the hole, right? Cool.
Yes.
So now she gets back into the job market. She makes $50,000, $55,000 a year. That's $15,000 less, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So let's say that in a perfect world, if everything were to play out and the trajectory would be exactly the same, but it would just be the same $15,000 year over year for the next 20 years, right?
No, sorry. Can you repeat that again?
So let's just say, because remember, she was making $70,000 a year before she had the kid. Now she's making $55,000 a year. That's $15,000 less. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, and this is not how it works. I'm doing this just to show you that if you did this with no variables, if you just made it the same 15,000, because she's never going to catch up. So even my point is it's going to take her time to get back up to making $70,000, right?
Yes.
Let's say it takes her 3 years to get up to back to making $70,000. That's a $45,000 hit that she took, because this whole time she'd have been making $70,000. But then you also have to put in there, if she was making $70,000 in 3 years, she would be making more than $70,000 by now in that same period of time. So let's say she's making by that time the same $15,000. So she got back up to 70, but let's say the 70 turns into 85. Now you're talking about $30,000 fucking dollars a year over year for 10, 20. You see how fast that adds up? That's money that you put into savings accounts of 401ks that get compounding interest after 20, 25 years. The money that she already lost initially by taking the 2 years off. She's already down 140 grand. She's 140 grand in the hole already. Then she's losing 30, 15 to $30,000 a year over year for the next 10 to 15 fucking years or 20 years till she retires or whatever it is. Do you see now how much money that is, bro? You're talking millions of dollars when you play it all the way out. So that makes so much sense for a woman to look at the man who flip it around for him, because it's a complete opposite for him. He made $70,000 when he had the kids because he had a child. He gets favoritism at his job, right? And because he has a wife to stay at home and to do all the labor in the house, he's more free to go make more money. So she has freed him up to make more money. Plus he gets the societal benefit of having children. Now he's making more money. That money was literally extracted from that woman. The businesses, the corporations didn't manifest that money out of nowhere. They just took the money from the women and gave it to the husbands. So as a husband, I owe that money to my wife. That's not my money. That's my wife's money. So therefore, it makes sense that I make more money and I pay more. I pay the bill. I pay more of the bills. That's not it. Again, that is a very rational, realistic expectation for women to have of men. So do you have another expectation that women have? Since that one doesn't make any fucking sense. Name another one.
What you said is more common. That's the most common, and that's possible. The issue with that isn't that you shouldn't pay if your wife gets pregnant. That's, I believe, is completely reasonable. But the issue is that, first of all, expecting that a man should make more or will make more. The only thing that should be expected is that he does support you within the pregnancy. Why does it matter if he does make more or less? It should be respected that he makes enough to support you during the pregnancy.
Are you even listening to what you have no point anymore? Just so we're clear, you're just babbling now. I'm not even joking. That didn't make any sense. You can't. It's okay to just concede right here. It's okay to just say, okay, cool. I didn't know that. I didn't look at it from that aspect. You've never been married. You don't know what it means to pay you don't know what that shit feels like. You've never been there. I'm telling you, that's what it is, fam. Statistically, personally, I can speak about, I'm telling you, that's what it is, without a doubt. So let's move on. Is there another thing you have? Anything else? Because that's not good enough. That's not an unrealistic expectation. That is very rational. Do you have something else?
Okay. No, actually, I can move on.
Okay.
You didn't address what I had to say.
Which one? I definitely addressed that. So what's the other thing? What other thing do you have?
Your argumentation was that because the potential loss in pregnancy, should one get pregnant, that a woman should expect the man to pay more bills. That is not against what I'm saying.
Lord help us. Nia's Auntie Olympic said the red pill isn't working either. It's not. Venice said, Cloud, shut the fuck up. Go ahead. I'm gonna let somebody else get it. I want to open up the panel. Go ahead, Pattern Wizard, and then I'm gonna let Hey Fizz and then Cool Cat. Go ahead, Pattern Wizard.
Yeah, I think, there's several points, I guess, that's been addressed. I think women primarily see men as wallets. So just, I guess, following on from your previous point.
So that's, but hold on, wait. So you just said the same thing he said. Did you, but here's the thing. You waited this whole time. Were you not listening? That's already, I just debunked it. That's not true.
You didn't debunk shit.
I did.
No.
Hold on, Will. Yeah, Will, you was gonna run. You a hoe. I already knew it. But go ahead, brother. So don't say the same thing he said. That's not true. Women don't see men as wallets. There's no proof of that because the reality is you're broke. Cool K is broke. We're all broke, working class men, but yet we've all been in relationships with women. We've all dated women. So if they only see us as wallets, then explain how did your broke ass get a date? How did you ever get a girlfriend? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So stop saying that. That doesn't make sense.
So there's a difference between getting a woman and keeping a woman, right?
Why would they give you why would they give you a chance? You're broke. Mind you, you're a working class man. You're broke, you're poor, you're a working class man, right? Why would a woman who just sees you as a wallet date you at all? They know you're broke. Why would they date you?
Yeah, so I've been in that situation, right? And then when the long-term girl that I was with all the way through uni, she graduated, got a job, thought she was this independent, strong queen, and then she changed up.
How did she change up?
Yeah, well, she thought she was boss B.
You're just making that up. You read this on a 4chan board somewhere. This is not a real story. I could already tell the lingo of boss B. You're just making that up. You heard that on some Red Pill podcast. Like, be for real. That didn't happen. Tell this story. Hold on. Wait. You said it happened to you. You said it happened to you. And this is how y'all get in trouble. Because now you have to tell me the story to make it make sense. If you can remove the story, I'm okay with that. Don't use you as a reference, right? But if you want to use you, now you have to tell me the whole story from beginning to end, as much as you possibly can, so I can decide if that really happened. Because I'm not taking your word for it, because I highly doubt it happened. So tell me, how did it happen? Where did you meet her? What did you tell her? What was said? What was her tell us.
So we were both in high school together.
Oh my God! I'm sorry. I already don't care about the story. High school? You already lost me. I don't care. I thought you were talking about an adult woman. Yeah, I don't care about the child.
We were together for 8 years.
I know, and you were still children. 8 years from high school is still a child. Out of it, you're still a child, right? When did you meet? What age?
Anyway,
what age did you meet?
Let's not use anecdotal.
Please. But what age did you meet?
18, something like that.
You met at 18?
Yeah.
Okay, so you met your senior year in high school, and you broke up when you were 26. You were like just crossing the threshold of adulthood. You barely were like full-fledged adults at that point.
No, we're adults. We both moved out when we were 21.
So what?
Went to uni.
You can move out and still be a child. It happens all the time.
Nah, you're an adult. Believe me. Some of the
I don't believe you. I've been there, done that.
Consequences. I was an adult.
I've been there, done it. I'm trying to tell you, you're not an adult. Your brain is so underdeveloped. Your experiences aren't there. Like, yeah, you're not an adult.
No, but I was trying. Believe me, I was held responsible for my adult decisions.
Two different things. I'm not debating if you got treated like an adult. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about developmentally. You weren't an adult. You weren't mentally an adult. You were treated like an adult, yeah, but you weren't an adult. Like, do you know right now that kids can be charged as adults for crimes?
Okay, so
that doesn't make them adults, though, right? Hold on. Listen. Hold on. Wait. Listen to what I'm saying. You can be 15 years old, commit a crime, and get charged as an adult, correct?
Not 15, no.
Yes, at 15 in America, yes. I don't know about in England. In America, yes. So at 15 years old, you can commit a crime, and they can charge you as an adult. Are you an adult?
Okay, so at what point then do you classify someone as an adult?
Post beyond 25 years old.
Okay, so I've gone beyond 25. And
now, when you were with her, you weren't. You were a child.
No, I'm saying beyond 25. I'm a lot older, and it's just repeated. And because I was literally grinding, right? I wasn't no player. I was just working. So I don't, I ain't got no game like that. I'm just a decent, hardworking guy who treats women well. That's been taken advantage of. But now, coming across the red pill content, it's opened my eyes. So I don't get taken advantage of anymore. So that's what the red pill content has done for me. It's made me realize some of the nature of women. I understand they're hypergamous.
What is hypergamy?
Well, yeah, they're looking for a level up, right?
Okay, so okay, yeah. Okay. So, what percentage of women date men who make 20% more than they make a year?
I don't know. I can't say it to be fair.
Okay. So why? So, okay. So if you don't know the numbers, then why are you calling women hypergamous? Because you should know the numbers. Huh?
Generally speaking.
I know, generally speaking. Listen to what I'm saying, brother.
Yeah,
Generally speaking,
they're the most consumers,
sir,
for instance.
that's not, no, you don't, that's not where that comes from. Women consume more. Women consume more because they buy more shit for everybody. They buy shit for the house and all of that stuff. They themselves are not more consumeristic than men are. Men are actually bigger consumers as individually. Like, we buy more shit for ourselves than women buy for them, for their selves. Women buy shit for the kids. They buy shit for you. They buy shit for the community. Yes, that's yes. So technically, they count that as they are bigger consumers. But women, but men actually spend more money on themselves. Men buy dumbass cars. Men have more. Who has more? No. See, you don't get to do that. Generally speaking, it's not weak. Most men are weak. Pattern. I agree. So yeah, we're there. So my question would be this: what percentage of who has more hobbies, men or women, per capita?
I don't know.
Who spends more time on men? Significantly more time. Men do. Hobbies cost money, correct?
Men spend more time working and make more
They
money.
don't.
So
They don't. That is a lie. Don't say stuff without any facts. Don't try to argue. Don't try to argue, Pattern. Don't try to argue.
It's a well-known fact about the way.
It's not a known fact. You cannot say stuff is a fact that's known that is not known. That is not a known fact.
So women make more money than men in general.
No, I just told you where the wage gap comes from. You don't even know where it comes from.
That's what I said. Men make more money. So
why do men make more money? When does that happen? Is that always the case? Nope. That's not why. You're wrong.
No, that is the case. Generally speaking.
Pattern.
They do more dangerous.
Hold on, brother. Hold on.
More difficult jobs.
Hold on. That's not what it is. That's not how they gauge the wage gap. The wage gap would be, the way they would do it is, if you wanted to look at the types of jobs that men make, they literally would they would say 1-to-1s. They don't do, like, I'm saying, if you, even in that, they have those numbers broken down too, like women in medicine versus men in medicine, women in education versus versus men in education. They actually break it down like that, right? But generally, men make more money than women because of children. Because again, the whole thing that I already went through with the other idiot, Will, the whole thing is, when women have children, they get penalized. When men have children, they get rewarded. That is where the wage gap happens. When men and women don't have children, they make about the same amount of money. Just so you know. So you should go look that up. That's what I'm saying. Instead of listening to red pill content, because they never use facts in red pill content.
That's an interesting statement that you made, right?
I mean, it's just a fact.
No, you said women get punished for having children.
Yes, by society. Yes, absolutely.
Really?
Yes.
So for instance, right? Like, I'm not even gonna get personal. So generally speaking, right? Like, so you're saying kids aren't a blessing. That they're not.
That's not what you're asking me personally what I think about children, which is irrelevant to this conversation. I'm just talking about what happened.
So you said that, it came out of your mouth. You said,
nigga, I know what the fuck I said. Women get punished by society. I'm not society, bro.
I would rather be at home with my children.
Sir, this is what you're saying to me is so irrelevant to the discussion right now. It's not even funny. It has
you said it. I didn't say it.
No. Don't try to gaslight me. Stop. What just happened is, hold on. See, you about to get dropped, brother. What just happened is I just explained to you why and when women make less money than men. That's all I did. I didn't put my own personal feelings in there at all. I just told you what happens and when it happens. That's all I did. And then you tried to ask me a personal question and was like, so you don't think kids are a blessing? What the fuck does that have to do with women being penalized for having kids? That's irrelevant to the conversation. Do I love kids? Yep. Do I think kids are, I don't believe in blessings, but do I think kids should be protected? Do I think mothers, hold on, Pattern. Do I think mothers should be rewarded for having children? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think mothers deserve a fucking lump sum check of money from the government every single time they have a kid. I think they deserve I think they deserve the red carpet rolled out for them for having children, right? If we all care about humanity so much, then we should reward women for having kids. We shouldn't penalize them for having children. We should reward them for having children. We should give them money. We should give them benefits. We should give them access to whatever things they need to be the best parents they could possibly be.
Facts. But with the caveat, they should be married. If women are just
No, they shouldn't be married.
Kids without being
It doesn't
married,
matter. The kids, it doesn't matter. And this is why, you guys, that's stupid, because whether or not the man and the woman are married, the kids still, right, for the system. I'm the system. I'm speaking for the system. When those kids grow up and they work jobs and they pay taxes and they start contributing to the system, who the fuck cares if their parents were married? That's all the system cares about.
yeah,
So the way that you combat what? What'd you say, Patrick?
Marriage gives women protection.
No, it doesn't.
So if
It exposes women.
Women get the resources, right?
No,
They
only 8% of people pay out alimony. So that's not true. Women lose 40. Hold on. On average, women lose 40% of their wealth when they get divorced. They don't get 50%, and most men don't have no fucking money. So let's move on.
Well, that's why I'm not getting married.
Actually, who's in the prisons more?
Men,
Men who have fathers around, or men who do not have fathers around?
both.
No. You're the statistics guy. Be honest now.
Yeah, there is no stat that says that they come from single mother homes. But even if hold on, brother, hold on. A, that's not true. And B, even let's say that that's true. I'll play that out. I'll play that game. I'll be your Huckleberry, right? Even though I know it's not true. But let's say that that's true. Okay. Who is most likely to live in poverty? Who is the what?
Homeless men.
No, not homeless men. Women with children. Single women with children are the largest demographic per capita of people.
So homeless men aren't.
They're not the largest demographic of people living in poverty, sir. The largest demographic of people per capita are women with children, right? So if women with children are the largest demographic of people in poverty, right? Poverty being the key word here, right? Okay, cool. What is also connected to poverty?
Homeless men are below.
Sir, pattern. Stop with the homeless man. You're wrong. You can answer this question though. What is the connection between what is related to poverty? What happens when people are living in poverty? What does it typically lead to?
Robbery and all that stuff.
Crime. Okay. The things you're talking about, oh, they're in prison. Okay, cool. So is the problem the mothers, or is the problem poverty?
Well, let's analyze it like this.
No. This is it. Hold on, brother.
Prison more.
No. This is the question you need to answer. This is for you, not for me. I'll ask the question again. Is the problem poverty, or is the problem the mothers?
Well, definitely economics. Right?
Okay, cool. Thank you for being honest, Pattern. Appreciate that.
Yeah, so for instance, that was a core part of my argument, that women see men as a wallet and not their morals and values and ethics, and that for me is a big problem.
That's not the same thing. No, that's not true. You can't. I'm not. We're so far beyond you going back to that talking point. I'm not playing that game. Like I've already debunked it. See what I'm saying?
He makes a good point.
He doesn't make a good point.
Okay, so the further point I wanted to
go ahead, Patterson.
Right, ultimately is that really what you want to do is have a family and leave your legacy, and not just in the sense of, oh, I'm leaving them a house or I'm leaving them a company. You're passing on your morals and your values, your ethics, your traditions, right?
But I don't care about that though. I don't. But why are we talking? Why are you bringing up Why are you bringing up all this ideological mumbo jumbo and ignoring the material circumstances?
Because the emphasis is too much on materialism.
No, it's sir. What if it, sir? You can pass on morals all you want to, but if you don't have food in your belly, them morals start getting real shaky. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
that's what makes your morals even more valuable.
No, that's
you're
what
not
makes
invested.
money even more valuable.
Everything.
Nah, it becomes, you see, now that's the test of your character. That shows who
It's
you
not a
really
test of your character. I don't, sir. Let me put this to you bluntly and plainly. I do not blame people. I don't, and I'm not saying individually. I'm saying as a whole. I don't blame people who are forced to live in terrible conditions, right? I grew up in the projects. I saw it. I don't blame people who grew up in those conditions for committing more crimes than people who didn't grow up in those conditions. I don't blame them for that. That is not a moral argument. There's not a moral argument to be made there.
From the gully side of Jamaica, right? And I came with nothing.
Okay.
I've had to make something of myself. So this is why I look at those guys like they're scumbags, because I can't exactly. I made it out of that situation.
Me too.
With a lot of discipline and focus. So this is why I'm just like, right, I can't tolerate people who have low morals and values and have weak characters.
No.
Because they can't stand hardship.
Were you abused as a child, Pattern?
No, I wasn't abused as a child.
You weren't abused as a child?
Everyone's had difficulties. I'm not going to go that.
I'm not asking you was your life difficult. You said you grew up in poverty. I'm sure it was difficult. You weren't abused as a child? Did you have food insecurity?
We had a lot of struggles. We had to do what we had to do.
Did you have
As I said,
food?
I got
Did you have food insecurity?
My parents were resourceful.
Okay. So you had two parents in the house.
Not all the time.
Okay. This is confusing. So
So
you didn't have food insecurity growing up and you weren't abused growing up. Okay. Do you think what about do you have any learning disabilities?
As I said, my parents were resourceful.
That's not what I asked you. Do you have any learning disabilities?
My parents whooped that out of me.
They whooped learning disabilities out of you? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. They whooped it out of me.
You can't whoop learning disabilities out of people, and that's highly disrespectful to say. That's crazy. And I just asked you, hold on, and you know you're contradicting yourself. I just asked you, were you abused, and you said no, but you just said your parents whooped your ID out of you. Like, what are you talking about, bro? That you were abused.
In Jamaica, you get beat in school.
You were abused.
No, it wasn't abuse.
That is abuse. That's the definition of abuse.
That's discipline.
Discipline is a vague term. Physically harming a child is abuse every single time. There's no way around it. 100% of the time, if you lay your hands on a child, you are abusing the child 100% of the time. That's not my opinion. Hey, cool K.
That's not in the Bible.
Yeah, I'm not playing the Bible game.
The Jamaican schools, you would hold your hand out.
Yeah. And you were abused as a child. Okay. So you were abused as a child, but you didn't have any learning disabilities. And you could read and you got through school. Okay. So what percentage of people in prison do you think have learning disabilities and or are illiterate?
I think for the most part, it's ill discipline, to be frank.
All right. Patter's not a real human being, y'all. He not. We're gonna move around. Go ahead, Cool K, and then Baba, and then and then BPG. Go ahead, Cool K.
All right. So this is not my opinion. It's a fact. There are different levels to discipline and
Cool K. I promise you. Answer the prompt to drop. I don't care about you telling me about kids. You don't have children. You don't know shit about kids. I don't care. You don't know anything. What books have you read? What books have you read on raising kids? Cool K.
Women ruin the dating market.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm sure, according to the way you pose your questions, they're dealing with the majority of women, right?
Of course. Look at God. Okay, but Cool K, just wait, man, because we're gonna let Baba go real quick. Go ahead, Baba.
Yeah, what's up, bro?
Chilling.
Cool. So to answer the prompt, I would say wait, hold on. Gotta make sure I say it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
I would say sexual liberation. I believe that's one of the reasons.
Be specific.
Yes, so the sexual liberation.
Yeah, what does that mean? Be specific.
I don't think I can define that.
Then you can't use it.
On TikTok.
Well, you can. You can use it. You can say it without saying things that'll get us banned from TikTok. Trust me.
It's more so.
Yeah, sorry, my phone.
Hold on, Cool K. Baba is literally talking. Go ahead, Baba.
Appreciate you. Thank you. So women being allowed, well, at least they are thinking that being sexually active with multiple people at once, they call that liberation.
How does that negatively impact men?
Because the pair bonding effect is going down.
That's not true. Where you don't have any science on that. So where you don't name it,
I do.
I'll look it up right now. What is it?
1 second.
Mhm.
I've got it.
Knowing who the father is as well. But anyway, guys, good night. I'm gonna go.
All right, parent. Yeah. Tell me what it is.
Yeah, so it's the National Survey of Family Growth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'll just read this statistic right here. Women with 10 or more partners were the most likely to divorce, but this only became true in recent years. So,
Oh, okay. Wait, and I have another question. What does this have to do with dating? Because you're talking about divorce, so this isn't dating. That's marriage.
Not true. Well, it has something to do with a woman trying to stay in a relationship.
No, it doesn't. We're talking about dating. How does women sleeping with whoever they want to sleep with? And by the way, again, what percentage of women have 10 or more sexual partners? Most women have 10 or more sexual partners. What's the average number of sexual partners that women have?
Are we speaking the West only?
Yeah, we're in the West.
Cool. So in the West, I would say a good 70%.
No. So the average woman sleeps with like 6 men, 6 partners. Not even men. They have 6 partners. Somebody said 8. I've seen 6. I don't know. I don't know about 8. I think it's 6.
Gen Z, it's only going up though.
So most women haven't slept with 10 men. Most women haven't. So you would have to name something that applies to most women.
I mean, you did.
I didn't.
Yes, you did. You
What?
mentioned the average for most women.
Yeah, six partners in their lifetime is nothing.
Yeah. So you mentioned you made my point.
I didn't.
Yes, you did.
You said 10. I said 6.
Yes, but I never
6 is average. 6 is average.
Reading.
Huh?
I never finished reading. I only mentioned the women with 10 because that's the top part.
Okay.
There's another one. Right.
Keep going.
With 3 to 9 partners
Mm-hmm.
are more likely to divorce than women with 0 to 1 partners.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy about this too is that you guys think that this has something to do with pair bonding, which that study doesn't prove pair bonding, by the way. It's just giving you information, like it's just giving you the stats, right? It doesn't tell you the why. You're implying the why is in pair bonding, but that's not the why. The why isn't that they love the men more or whatever like that. But I can guess, right? I'll take an educated guess, right? The women who only have one partner are probably extremely religious. And women that are married in extremely under the duress of extreme religious practices oftentimes cannot escape those marriages. So staying married longer doesn't actually prove anything to me. It just the likelihood that those women are being abused to me goes up. Like I'm like, yeah, those women are probably like sick, like very, very, very abused, like really abused. But it doesn't prove that like, oh, women who only have one partner are more likely to stay with a man for 30 years because they pair bond with him. No, it's because they're religious fanatics more than likely, and they're like if the average person gets married at 30 years old, what the fuck kind of, and not to knock anybody that's a 30-year-old virgin, but that is an outlier. A 30-year-old virgin? Like what? That's crazy. 30?
I waited till marriage till I was 30. What's wrong with that?
It's not wrong with it. It just isn't, it's not common. I didn't say it was anything. I literally just said I don't think anything's wrong with it. It's just not common.
So my response to your prompt was that sexual liberation is definitely playing a part in why women have ruined the dating market.
How many partners do men have?
think the average was 3.
No, they have more than women. So try again.
Okay, so
Yeah. So men sleep with more women than women sleep with men. So wouldn't men be at fault?
no, but it's okay.
Hold on. If that's your logic there, if that's your logic, if it's all about pair bonding and women sleep with more and men sleep with more women than women sleep with men, then wouldn't that actually be, by your example, it would be women? It would be men, I'm sorry.
Who releases more oxytocin?
Huh? Again, hold on. Is this in the study that you're describing right now? Or you just,
this is not in the study, this is just general knowledge.
Okay.
Who releases more oxytocin during sex?
I don't know.
During intimacy.
Don't know, don't care. I would think if I don't know the science on it. I think men though, because men actually come, but it could be women. I don't know.
It's women.
Again, that's fine. But what is the relevancy of that?
I will tell you right now. Oxytocin is a pleasurable feeling, right? It's a
Baba, what percentage of women orgasm during sex?
Oxytocin.
Hold on, Baba. What percentage of women orgasm during sex?
0.
Not 0, but what percentage of women orgasm during sex?
I'll go with 1%.
It's really low, right? I think like over 70% of women have reported never having had an orgasm. So if the vast majority of women aren't even orgasming, when is the majority of the oxytocins released?
Okay, so the oxytocin, right, for a woman and for a man, they're very different. A woman doesn't necessarily get pleasure just for the orgasm.
But this doesn't have anything to do with the amount of partners, brother. Just so we're clear.
No, like I want to answer you, but like you keep moving the goalposts.
I haven't. I swear to God, I haven't, because you are the one who brought all of this nonsense up.
Cool. Let me just land the plane. If you're cool with it.
Of course. The thing is you are doing the thing you're accusing me of, and I'm just not allowing you to do it. I'm not going to let you move the goalpost.
You attributed oxytocin to an orgasm, right?
No. I just made the point that is when the vast majority of it gets released is when you orgasm, and men almost always orgasm and women almost never orgasm. So wait. And also my point was, this has nothing to do with the amount of partners one has. That's what I'm saying. So okay, you can have sex with one person. When do people have the best sex? What group of people have the best sex?
What group?
Married people.
Yep.
They're married, yeah.
And how long have they been married?
Couple of months.
Nope, 20 years.
And they have the best sex.
Married people, or people, they don't even got to be married, but people that have been together for 20 consecutive years with the same partner have the best sex.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So what you're saying doesn't make sense. It doesn't help your argument at all. You're just saying stuff. You're connecting dots that don't connect.
Let me finish.
I don't think you guys understand that fatal flaw. Now, whatever you're about to say, it can't make sense. Because again, if you're trying to make the point that oxytocin is connected to pair bonding, which is connected to the amount of partners that people have, it doesn't make sense.
All I'm saying is, for a woman to achieve pleasure, right, when she's doing the sexual act, she releases oxytocin. There is a difference when a man has sex and a woman has sex. You need to agree with this because this is common sense.
How does this relate to what you're saying? You're just this is a moot point.
I want to
then relate it. Then don't tell me that I need to accept it. That's not a part of the conversation. I don't give a fuck. Just say what you want to say.
And this is leading back to the pair bonding, right?
Okay.
So there is a study done by I forgot the professor's name. However, the point was he was objectifying a man's pair bonding and a woman's pair bonding, and he said,
how do you objectify their pair bonding?
No, as in like just making it like not necessarily personal. He was making it like an object, right? He was talking material.
Okay.
So the material thing was he explained a woman's pair bonding as sticky tape and a man's pair bonding as Velcro.
Yeah, this is a scientific. This is not a science. This is not a peer-reviewed study.
Correct. It's not.
Yeah, so I don't care about it.
Yeah, it's not. But
I know. I don't. Is it fair to say now I don't care about it? So let's move on.
Yeah, you cannot care about it.
I don't. It's not scientific, so it's not verifiable. Therefore, I don't care. If Jordan Peterson said it, which he did, I don't give a fuck about it. Because he's an idiot and he's a misogynist and he says stupid stuff like that all the time.
Yeah, Jordan Peterson, he's definitely an idiot. I will agree with that.
Yeah, and that idiot said the thing you're saying. That's what I'm saying. That's where you got it from. It came from him. So that's what I'm saying. So can we move on? So you don't have a point anymore because it's not scientific. You tried to connect the dots. They didn't connect. Now what? Like,
so my second thing was, so besides the sexual liberation,
mm-hmm.
another one was the lie sold to women about having a career.
So you have to, this is what I want you to do. Whatever you're about to say, directly connected to how this negatively impacts men. That's all I want to know.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of young ladies coming out of high school or college or university, whatever it may be, they go into a career. And when they do go into a career, they have to sacrifice a lot of hours to just simply work towards that career. They are promised a very rewarding and financially stable career at the end of it, right? Or a lifestyle at the end of it. However, that takes away from the years that you can be together with her.
So can you tell me how this negatively impacts men?
Yes, she doesn't get to spend that time with you.
What are you talking about?
She is focused on a career. She doesn't get to spend time with
That
you.
would, that same logic would apply to men.
Can I tag in?
Hold on. There's people ahead of you. BPG so hasn't gone a bid. I want everybody to get it. I'm gonna open up the pen. I'm getting bogged down. I'm gonna let BBG go, and I'm gonna let everybody go once real quick. But I want you all to answer the prompt, and then we can move on.
I'll mute myself.
Okay.
If you want.
Yeah. Now you can say up. I just want everybody to get a chance, and you can come back.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
Yeah. No. Ahead. Go ahead, BBG. Or I'm sorry. Go ahead, BBG. Fuck. Okay. Cool. Okay.
No, please don't. Women have not ruined the dating market. So there's that. The dating market is not real. The dating market itself is how do I put this? It's trafficking.
Yeah.
That's what it is. When you start to measure people based on how you value them and who's more valuable and who's not, and you start to, put a price on humans as objects, that is objectification, and that is tied to trafficking. Like there's no, is what it is. I think most men try to convince themselves that the dating market is somehow ruined or, sullied or whatever based on women being able to educate themselves or being able to have careers or being able to have access to money because they want to figure out a way how to get to the bottom of the fact that women don't like them. They don't consider their odor. They don't consider their breath. They don't consider their bad personalities. They don't consider the way that they dress. They don't consider that they are not kind to women. They don't consider that they don't like kids or animals. They don't consider the fact that they don't have hobbies or friendships, that they don't know how to have romantic relationships. Everything boils down to, I have to figure out some way to blame a woman for why it is I don't have access to her. And that usually boils down to that pesky education and her ability to speak for herself. That's why every single time you hear these dudes come up here, especially the red pill dudes, they love talking about how the red pill leadership has given them the ability to be able to see themselves in a way that they couldn't before. And usually that way is what? Clean. The red pill community teaches them how to wash, how to exercise, how to eat fruits and veggies, and then also how to abuse, manipulate, and mistreat women. And they tie those things together because that is the hegemonic masculinity that they want access to, where they can pretend to be the man of their dreams, has everything to do with whether or not they can figure out how to have access to women. And when they don't have access to women, that community tells them, oh, no, it's not you. It's just them. It's just because they read too many books. It's just because,
it's because they make too much money.
It's because they make too much money. It's because they're hypergamous and they want to use you for your money. Never mind the fact that you don't have any, but they want to use you for the money that you may eventually make. That really
how are they? You know what's crazy? I didn't clock that. How are women both hypergamous but also boss bees?
But also they choose bums.
What?
Specific set of men.
Wait.
They're not getting impregnated by that specific set. The men who are in the top 10% of earners, those aren't the men that are impregnating all the women. Because if that was the case, then it would be very easy for us to just fit. We could save the entire community if the 10 to 20% or something like that of men who are at the top, who are the attractive 6 feet men with 6 figures, if that.
Hey, if we go ahead, BBG.
Yeah. If they were actually impregnating the community, we could save a lot of time by divvying up their resources and just passing it out. Because all those people, everybody would be related, and all of that wealth could be distributed throughout the community, because those are the men that the women are choosing. But they know that women are actually choosing those men because they know that women are trying to attempt to have relationships with men who are in close proximity to them, which are the men that men consider bums.
And they don't have access to those. The women, let's be honest, most women don't have access to the top 10% of men.
Most people don't.
That's what I'm saying, like men or women, but like, yeah, but in this case, women, they don't even have access to, like, it's mathematically impossible. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if it ain't about how fine you are, whatever, you're just not, you have to be in the same proximity as them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just don't have access to them. So how are women meeting all of these well-to-do men, or like, that doesn't make any sense. And it is what I asked the men. It just doesn't make any sense. If you ask the same men that are saying this, have you been in a relationship? They would say yes. And if you ask them, do you make 100,000, whatever? Are you 6 feet, 6 foot? No, you're not. So how does that make sense? How are you not connecting that dot, even in your own life? Like, okay, I've had my fair share of women. I've been on a few dates. I've had a couple girlfriends, you know what I'm saying? I'm 23 or whatever, or 30 or whatever it is. And I've had 2 or 3 or 4 girlfriends by now, and whatever. And I've had 4 or 5 partners, sexual partners. And then here you go, you get on the internet lying, saying that, oh no, women just want men for their money and 6 feet tall and 6-pack. And lo and behold, you never met any of that criteria. Not one of them. Right. And here's the thing that always blows my mind. Imagine telling a person that meets the criteria that's what women want, and then I'm telling you that that's actually not the experience of the men who actually meet that criteria. That's not the experience. Like, you still have to have a personality. You still get rejected by women all the time. Being 6 foot, being physically in shape, whatever, all of that shit, having a little money, having a little whatever the fuck, you still have to have a personality. You still have to be nice. I promise you. You don't believe me? Take it from me. You still have to figure out a way to treat the woman the way that she feels like she deserves. You have to do it. If you don't, she will leave you. She won't stay with you. You can say she'll give you a chance because okay, fine. I can agree to that. Fine, whatever. She's more likely to give you a chance. Fine, cool, whatever. Nobody's gonna argue against that. But if you're saying, like, if you're talking about actually being with that woman, you still have to fucking have something of substance to keep her there. They don't, at some point in time, that shine is going to wear off. That new car smell is going to go away at some point in time, fairly quickly. And it's going to be, oh, but he's dumb. Oh, but he's a liar. Oh, but and once that shit goes away, then what? What do you have? Nothing. Because if you've been basing your whole existence on you being tall, which a lot of dudes do, don't get me wrong, a lot of dudes put that shit in a fucking profile, 6'5". There's a lot of dudes on this app that are 6'5". Like, if we had to do a percentage of dudes that are 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", that put that shit in their bio, I would say 50% of them do. It's the wildest. I'm like, well, who gives a fuck? 6'5", what the fuck? But they put that shit in their thing, and they half of their page is like content of them like walking through doors and like ducking and being like, oh, I'm this tall, I got to duck to get it. Like, it's goofy as fuck. Okay, cool. The girls like you, right? Cool. They're attracted to you physically. Fine, I'll give you that. You go out on a date. What you gonna talk about now? Okay, cool. You got past the first date. You got past the second. You got past the first 6 or 7 dates, right? Cool. How are you going to keep her there? You're fucking. You have based your whole personality on you being 6'5", you being 6'4", you being 6'7". Now what? That's the thing that I'm not like. I don't know if y'all know that because y'all have never got to that point. You've never reached that point in a relationship, right? Where the woman, like, was like, now what? For a lot of y'all never got there, and you don't know. And I'm telling you, as a man that's been through the now what phases and all of that shit, you gotta fucking do something, bro. You got.
That is crazy that they do that. It's similar. It's the same
What?
way.
What?
It's
Who
the
does
same
that?
way that BBLs, they think of BBL or breast enhancement is all they need.
What percentage of women? What percentage of women have BBLs?
No, I'm just saying it's both. The guys who think that works, that's stupid.
But it doesn't. And here's a problem with that: is it doesn't go both ways for men and women because. Okay, it doesn't go both ways for men and women because men actually don't give a fuck if she has a personality or not. Men actually don't. Hold on, okay. Men actually don't care if the woman is funny. Men actually don't care if the woman is not. Men actually don't care. If the woman is attractive enough, he don't care. But when you can't flip that around and put that on. You can't say, oh, it goes both ways because women do. No, women actually end up caring at some point and being like, cool, K, you're a fucking weirdo. Now, like, you were cool at first. I thought you were cute. You were funny at first. Now I'm starting to pick up, brother. Please shut the fuck up, cool, K. Hold on. I'm picking up now that you're misogynistic. I'm picking up now that you don't listen, that you like to talk over people. I'm picking up now that you don't respect me. You've lied to me several times. I've caught you in several lies, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, and then the women get tired of that, and then it's time to leave. But the men, she don't even be lying to you and shit like that. She just gets to a point to where she's like, I mean, you just get to a point with a woman because men aren't actually interested in, like, men are vapid. So what does it matter if the woman is vapid? You know what I'm saying? Men are shallow. What does it matter if the woman is shallow? That's what I'm saying. Like, most men don't give a fuck if the woman is just physically attractive. They'll marry that woman. They'll marry that woman. They'll date that. You said what?
It's not going to be physically attractive. The amount of men that are very much willing to be with women who don't have, and that's what the BBL is a lie. There's a growing number of men who are not only getting BBLs, but they are also, men are the largest growing demographic of people who are getting plastic surgery because they are lengthening their legs, but they're also getting the male version of BBLs. And a lot of times what's happening is they now, instead of men figuring out how to have personalities, they are just increasing the things that they lie about. And a lot of those men that you talked about, they start off with a personality. It's just not their personality.
Mm-hmm.
They can't keep up the lie. So just like you said, they make it to you see the dude and you like, how in the world did this man end up with this lady? And she's such a nice, sweet lady. How the heck did he end up with her? And it's usually because the first, second, third, fifth, 19th date, he has lied about who he is that entire time until he literally cannot lie anymore. Like, that's usually what happens. And once he gets to the point of not being able to lie anymore, that's when the other side of him comes out, where he has now figured out how to intertwine himself so deeply in her life that now she has to figure out, okay, do I want to go through the struggle of getting him out, or do I want to figure out how to survive it?
Or do I want to figure out if we can get back? Because for a long time, the women are trying to get the man to go back to the original, to the old version of himself, thinking like, oh, he just lost his way, not understanding like, no, he was never actually that person. And it takes women a long time, especially when you're, and it's understandable when you're in the situation that it would take you a long time to actually figure out that, oh no, that's not who he is. You know what I'm saying? Like, that makes sense. So it might take you, depending on the person or whatever, it could take you 4 or 5 or 10 years to really get to the bottom of it. Like, this motherfucker really just stole the woman. You know what I'm saying? Like he just stole some woman's personality, you know, that he dated before. That's who he was this whole time. That shit wore off. You know what I'm saying? The veneer wore off, and I saw through it. But the whole time I'm thinking like he's having a bad time at work. His hormones are out of whack. He's having health problems, you know, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? And then it just takes a while. It takes a while to catch on. But I want to let go ahead, Cool K, and then I'm gonna let
I wanted to say this
go ahead.
because men, the extent that men will go to the lie, but also how other men will help them lie. And I mentioned this before, and I actually thought about this earlier when I went to go pick up my food. I thought about Otis Williams and the amount of lies that was in the Temptations movie, but I also thought about the fact that there were so many people that helped him make that movie that knew that he was lying. And I think about how that translates to relationships and how men will lie to women consistently about who they are, where they live, what they do, how many kids they got, their careers, everything that they can think of. And then they'll bring in their friends as well. And that is also a part of the reason why. And if you want to talk about maybe that ruining the world of dating, then that's definitely a good way to go. But they will use not only themselves to lie, but they'll use the people around them to help to mask the lie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to jump in real quick. Yeah, thanks for bringing me up. Just real quick, to answer the prompt, it says, how have women ruined the dating market? The word ruin is very strong, so I don't agree with that. I don't think they have. Was it changed? Yes, I would say the dating market has changed since I guess women have gone into the workplace in the sense that they, you know, they're focusing more on careers and so on and so forth. It's changed it, but it doesn't ruin it. And let me explain before anyone jumps in. The fact is, it's all about how do you say it? It's all about compatibility. If a woman meets a man that it's not a problem, it's a beautiful thing. If she meets a man that it is a problem, then it's not a good thing. So the fact is, it's just a matter of what are you willing to deal with. All right, as they say, as Bobby Brown would say, it's their prerogative. People just need to find individuals that match what they are pursuing. It's that simple. So it's not a matter of ruining. It's a matter of making sure you have vetted the person that you're with. Is this man capable of accepting this woman's, aspirations, ambitions, and goals, desires, and vice versa? Once you find two people that see it eye to eye, then it's a beautiful thing. So that's why I'm going to say it has nothing to do with anyone ruining anything. It has everything with doing with ascertaining and confirming what it is that you want out of that relationship. That's how I'm going to put it. Now, like I said, I don't have allegiance. I don't have loyalty to anyone on TikTok. Okay, the only allegiance I have is to the King of Heaven's armies, Jesus Christ, right? But I'm not going to get into that. All I'm going to say though is everybody brings to the discussion interesting concepts. There's certain things red pill guys say that is interesting, and there's certain truth in it. Not all truth. Certain things the pink pill women, or whatever, I don't know what you call them, that bring to the table, and there's a lot of truth in it. So it's just a matter, like I said, I'm going to land it with this. It's a matter of everyone just has to know exactly what type of partner are you looking for, and make sure you find that partner. It's so simple.
Okay.
There's no need for wars.
Okay. All right. Go ahead a bit, and then Brick, go ahead a bit, or Cloud. Sorry.
Yeah. What's up? So I don't think women have ruined the dating market.
Nice.
I think feminists have ruined the dating market, because what does feminism teach you? Is that religion is a tool of the patriarchy used to control women. So you need to negate religion as a tool. And God-fearing women are the best women. So you're telling women to negate the one thing that's keeping them virtuous. And not only that, in modern day, I know a woman who's had 4 or 5 abortions. I know.
What woman would tell you she's had 4 or 5 abortions?
It was one of my friends, their partner. She said she was on her 4th, and that was like a couple of years ago. But my point is, that would not be normal like 30, 40 years ago, man. And this lie, this whole, there's no shame. Shame is a regulatory thing.
Who told you that?
Yeah, shame is beautiful.
No. Who told you that an AB wouldn't be normal, or they're getting that wouldn't be normal 40, 30 years ago?
Not 4 or 5 of them.
Who told you that? Based on what?
It's just facts. People
Based on what? What facts?
They're shame for getting it.
How would you wait? If you go, wait, sir, if you get an AB, nobody knows. So how are you shamed for it? What are you talking about?
Yeah, you would feel bad about it. Now it's like it's common practice. It's like,
You don't think the women who get ABs sometimes feel bad about it, brother? You don't think some women who get ABs feel bad about it? You think women just get ABs and just the next day they just hop up and go to work and everything's normal? Are you serious?
I think some of them were like, oh, I'm too cheap to pay for Plan B. Oh, might as well just get an abortion.
Bro, you don't know shit. You don't know anything about ABs or Plan B. That's not even when those two things wouldn't even connect at the same time.
Very different trimesters.
Like, what are you talking about?
Some women use AB as a form of birth control.
No, they don't. But also, the day after pill is the fucking day after. When do ABs don't happen the day after a bid?
Yeah, but it's called there's a causal obligation with SMEX, and you shouldn't engage in SMEX, and you could unless you.
Sir, I don't care about that. You just now you're moving the goalposts. What you said didn't make sense.
We're talking about people using ABs like it's birth control, and there's a percentage.
What woman wouldn't want to take a day after pill versus getting an AB potentially? Like that just doesn't make sense. You're not making sense.
You're irresponsible women who succumb to hookup culture. That's who.
Yeah, if they're irresponsible, then they're going to pay the price for it. So who cares?
Yeah, unaliving an innocent baby.
Oh God, I don't care. I don't care. All right, go ahead, Brick. You guys say the same stupid shit. It's boring. Go ahead, Brick. It's not fun. Go ahead, Cloud. If you want to say something, you go ahead too, brother. Cloud Killer. Oh, Venice said perfect time. She said, Cloud, shut your weird ass up. That was with somebody. That's what she paid to say. Hold on, let me read these real quick. Anthony said, the 666 rule never gets heard from women offline. Never. I never heard a woman say it. Teresa said, the wage penalty for motherhood and YT collar jobs pay more than the hard jobs that none of them do. Drop pattern like she did when her brain developed. Oh man. Ice Queen said oxytocin. You can apply that to somebody else, Teresa, by the way, because he already dropped. Ice Queen said oxytocin is released most during O's for men and women. Most women don't O with SMEX. If pair bonding was real, then men would bond with every encounter and women would mostly bond with toys. LOL, 20 on him, bet. Y'all can apply that to some other people. I don't give a fuck. We good today. Go ahead. I'm listening. Go ahead, Cloud.
I'm just waiting for the panel to open up, basically. So I think you have one more person before me with Rick.
Brick isn't. I don't think Brick is available, so I'm about to drop him.
Could you clarify something for me, host?
Sure.
Like I said, you come with a lot of stats, which I appreciate because I'm not a stat man. So you definitely disabuse me with certain situations. But my question is pertaining to the statement you made that when a woman, she gets pregnant and she has to leave the job for childcare and stuff like that, she reduces her income by, let's say
she doesn't reduce her income. Her income is reduced though. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm just wondering is, I don't know if you've done the research on this, but when a woman leaves, when she goes back to work, does she still have the same amount of pay she gets? Or are you saying that when she goes back to work, it's lower?
She loses money, yeah.
Is that all jobs, or does she,
nothing is all, brother. Nothing is all.
I mean, but what's the percentage?
It's the majority of jobs, yes. The vast majority of the time when they come back, they lose money, yes. The vast majority. Overwhelming majority.
That's interesting. And is that legal?
Yeah.
I thought that was illegal to do.
No, it's legal. Why haven't you haven't been working for 2 years? Or I've been taking care of a baby. I mean, that's cool, but you haven't been working for 2 years still. So why wouldn't I hire this person that's been working consistently for the last 2 years? Why would, you know what I'm saying? Oh, you have a family? Oh, well, you know, she's going to need to go take care of her kids and she's going to put whatever excuses they make. That's what ends up happening.
No, what I mean is, let me be more specific. And you're probably still right. I just want to make sure I understand. So let's say a woman is making $30 an hour.
Yep.
She has a child. She goes out of, for leave. She comes back. Are you saying that she no longer makes $30 an hour?
She won't make $30 an hour when she comes back. No,
Wow, that's not fair.
it's not.
That's crazy.
I think she should make more when she comes back. Now, I don't even think she should make the same. If when she left, she was single, or when she left, she didn't have a child. She comes back with the child. I think we should pay her more the same way they pay men more. I think when she leaves and comes back, she shouldn't make $30 an hour, especially considering inflation, right? So automatically, I feel like she should get at least a 5 to 10% increase.
Well, are you saying that a man, once they find out that he has a child, he gets paid more?
Yeah, he gets favored. It's not like they just go, oh, you have a kid, we're going to pay you more. But like, he's more likely to get promoted. He's more likely to get jobs in the first place when he has kids. You know, he gets more hours thrown his way, like all of that stuff. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Interesting.
All right, go ahead, Cloud. It's open. The panel is open.
I kind of wanted to veer just a little bit ahead of the prompt a little bit. And this is just a question to anybody in comments or on the panel, whatever. So I don't believe that we have a solution coming in the future here. That's just what I believe. I don't believe that there's a solution happening. So I'm curious.
All we've been talking about is the solution. All I talk about is the solution. Whether men listen and do it, you can say that. But what the solution is? Okay, yeah, those are two different. Yeah, those are two different discussions.
So I have my own idea for like what our solution would be, but we'll talk about that whatever. I'm curious. Would anybody like? How do you guys feel about like the segregation of sexes?
Oh wow, that's weird. You guys can answer. Anybody can answer that.
Well, segregating sexes is base. We have to maintain a moral society, and we should only be coming together when in marriage.
I agree with segregation, but only in the bathrooms.
What is your point in asking about that though? Why would you even ask that? Would be my question.
So it might come from something like, okay, so I'm pretty sure we see stuff like this all the time. We see like gym culture, right? Okay. We see a lot of times women feel objectified, harassed, creeped on when it comes to gym. And so sometimes women try to make their own gyms for women specifically. Mm-hmm. But a lot of time that's met with a lot of animosity. Men are like, oh, why are you doing that? That's not going to work, blah, blah. There's all kinds of negative stuff coming from men. Mm-hmm. But in my opinion, I think a woman's only gym is a great idea, like a genuinely like great idea. And so I don't see that has to stop at the gym because we have so many societal issues where men and women can't seem to get on the same page. Women only gyms, women only, working areas, women only whatever. I guess in my head, that does seem like a better solution than trying to force men to get it together.
So you think that segregation is a more reasonable route than for men just to become better people?
Yes, because I don't think men will become better people. The
same way nobody's going to be segregated. That's less likely to happen.
Well,
it makes less sense because we literally hold on, wait. Cloud killer, hold on. That actually is a detriment to society as well, separating men and women.
I'm aware.
Why is it a detriment? Why do you think it's a detriment?
Because that's not how we're supposed to be.
I know, but why is it a detriment? In what way?
Well, one, we're meant to be together. I'm not religious.
So no.
Scale or whatever.
In what way is it a detriment? Because you keep saying we're meant to be together. That's like fairy tale stuff. In what way?
So we benefit from the differences that we have. So men benefit from women because we're not as good at certain things that women do. So we benefit from that. Same thing, women benefit from men.
Yep.
Let's say like physical attributes,
yep.
Things like that. Mm-hmm. That's what makes us great together. Is because we make up for our weaknesses on either side.
Yep.
So
and one of the
is detrimental in that way, of course.
And one of the reasons why society is in such a bad place is because we already have segregation. We have 100% of the power, in this world controlled by men. We're already segregated. That already exists. the power structure is 100% controlled by men, and a small group of men at that.
Yeah, that's correct.
So you thinking that segregation would help is crazy. like that it's because we see the results of being segregated already. We already see it. So you think further segregation would make society better in some way? It wouldn't.
The reason this comes up as a potential is because the current form of segregation that we have is mixed gender.
That's not segregation.
And like a idealized situation would be women managing themselves, not under the segregate or not under the power of men.
They would still be, because they all the rules would be set, unless you're talking about giving them their own government and their own land and all of that stuff, brother. That's not like the fact that you actually think, and this is what I'm saying about men, right? The fact that basically what you're saying, and I'm not even saying you're wrong necessarily. I'm just saying that you think that men are quicker to buy into the idea of fucking Gilead than you think that men will buy into the idea of just like, or I can just be a better fucking person.
Yes, 100% yes. Absolutely, that's how I think. Yes, I do not. I told you earlier, I'm very pessimistic about this particular thing. I have no hope for men to get it together. There's just none. It's too late. Okay. It's like gun control. Pew pew control in America. That's not happening. We're too far along. We are way too far along. Same thing with men. Way too far along at this point.
Way too far along. Where? What do you think?
In the toxic space that we've created for ourselves, we are too far along.
You think we're more toxic now than we were 300 years ago?
Yes, because we can talk to each other more now.
That doesn't mean we're more toxic.
Yes, absolutely. Because we have more ideas that we're okay. So you have, like, let's say levels of toxicity 1, 2, and 3. Before social media, before you could talk to each other, those people could only talk to other people on their level. Everybody else would kind of see them as like, oh, you're crazy. You're what are you saying? That's not right. Now everyone can talk to everybody. Everyone can talk to everybody about like this is why red
that doesn't
is so big.
I got you. So I got you. But again, men collectively were worse 100 years ago.
What would you say is like the example of that? What do you think is collectively worse?
The Salem fucking witch trials. Men are collectively, women had less protection. This is it's connected to the protections that women have, right? It's a 1-to-1. The reason why men aren't as bad as we were, whatever, is because women have more autonomy now. That's the thing. There you go. Somebody said slavery. Like, there's a bunch of examples of this. Men were collectively worse 100 years ago. Men were
worse as a whole or worse to women, just to clarify.
As to anybody, but definitely worse to women. Absolutely, we were worse to women 100 years ago. We were worse to women 50 years ago. We were worse to black people. We as a country, we were worse to black people 50 years ago, 70 years ago. We were worse. So acting like now, like what the fuck is now? Like we're better. We are the best we've ever been. Like,
do you really believe gender segregation doesn't protect women? I mean, do you want males and
no, it doesn't protect women the same way that racial segregation didn't protect black people. It just made us targets.
What if they mix male prisoners with the female prison population? What do you think would happen?
I think that we should reconstruct prison.
Babies.
I think if you put men and women in prison and you allowed them to exist like human beings, the amount of violence would go down in prison, not up.
I think there'd be a lot of babies, unfortunately.
So what?
I think there's a problem with women getting raped. Why don't you?
Men are getting raped. It's because of how they're treated in prison. If you take women, you're just saying if we keep the exact same prison system and you just put women in prison, would it be yes, it would be fucking terrible, right? That's not what I'm saying, because that's stupid. I'm saying, since we're playing these what if fucking hypotheticals, then you would just change the system. It would be more like a Scandinavian system where you actually focus on rehabilitation and not just putting everybody in fucking cages and starving them and putting them in orange jumpsuits and not letting them go outside for 23 hours a day. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, if you treated them like human beings in the prison and you put women in there in the prison, right? And you would definitely have to segregate certain men and take them out, like ones who offend against women and children. You would probably have to take them out. But like, that's not the majority of the prison system. So if you put a woman in prison with dudes who were, because most people are in prison for drug-related offenses. So if you put women around the men who are in there for selling D-rugs or doing D-rugs or whatever the case may be, what the fuck you think it's about to just be all willy-nilly? They just, no, you fucking treat them like human beings. You protect the women, as you know what I'm saying? You protect the prisoners as much as you can, and you treat them like human beings. It would be completely different.
Would the women prison, are you saying would the women prison be in the same cell as the men, or they just
however you have to do it? That's what I'm saying. Y'all getting lost in the sauce. I don't give a fuck however we have to do it. There are more male prisoners than female prisoners anyway. So of course you would have to, the whole thing would be different. You couldn't throw that small of a population of women in prison with, you know, when there's fucking 7 times more men in prison than women. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. That's what I'm saying. But a lot of people don't understand. People don't know shit about our prison system, and they don't know that our prison system, I mean, they don't understand. They won't accept that our prison system isn't built to rehabilitate people. It is literally just built for profit and to create slaves, right? It's literally just made to make people more violent. So yeah, in our current prison system, you put women in there, it's a wrap for the women. They're gonna get freaking destroyed like that. It's gonna be like what happened in the Congo. No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Segregation has happened already on this planet Earth.
Say it again.
Let me give you a real world example where segregation has happened already on this planet Earth, and it really didn't work.
America.
There's a village in Kenya that was organized by women, and these women ran away from their various tribes because of cruelty by men, right? And they set up their own towns. And men will still go into those villages and raid their farms.
Yep.
And try to grape them.
Mm-hmm.
It is the few men that are friends with these women that go there to protect the women, because the women by themselves can't fight off these men that come in.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also another community in the Himalayas. It's a matrilineal community headed by women. However, the men in the family do not leave home. They stay with their mothers and their sisters and their aunts. So they become the fathers to the children born by these women. And that's how the family unit stays together and protects the women and the children.
Nice.
So saying that women should be segregated, that is not going to work. Now, the last speaker also mentioned that the internet is making it worse. Actually, it's making it better because we're able to speak to each other now and reason with each other. So that's why better men, are finding allyship with other better men and women. And this will reduce the population of the bad men. Okay? So it's better that we're talking to each other now. Yeah.
I agree.
Oh, let me read. I got to read some things. Stephanie said, segregate Cool Kmart from the panel. 5 on his head. Carpathian Pixie said, men will always want what they don't have. They will see us thriving and invade our countries if we were segregated, which that's what Iron Man just said. They love to pillage and plunder. That's facts. Yeah, that's facts. You can't, if you separated women, you just make them bigger targets. That's the reality.
Thank you for that information. That's pretty cool. Okay, so I'll adjust. Then what I said, instead of complete segregation, then would people be more happy? I already know men ruin this, but I'm just asking, would people be more happy with more women only spaces? So not total segregation, just many more women only spaces.
BPG, do you want to answer that?
Can he repeat that?
He said, would people be more happy with women's only space, more women's only spaces? The answer for men would be no, but that's why I wanted BPG to answer, because she's a woman. I don't know what the answer would be for women. I can assume what it would be, but
yeah, no, they wouldn't, and it's for the reason that you mentioned earlier. Segregation when you talk about segregation, people think that it's just a separation of genders, a separation of races, a separation of cultures, and it's not.
It's not. Resources.
A lack of resources. It usually includes the hierarchy doesn't go away because you separated people. It actually is exacerbated because you separate people.
Yep.
And what they do is they strip, just like they did. They did this in a bunch of time periods, like quite literally. When you have the Salem witch trials, that has to do with women being subjected to violence based on the fact that because if men don't understand the thing, they kind of just want to unalive it. Like there's no there's no middle ground for that. There's never a like, hey, let's figure this out. Let's research this. Let's get to the bottom of this. It quite literally is. I don't understand. Let's just unalive it.
Bring them up.
That's how that goes.
Did you see that?
Women, black people, like.
Did you see that video, BBG, of that woman talking about how the Salem witch trials was a land grab?
I believe that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hey, when she explained it, I was like, "Oh shit."
I personally haven't read that, but I know for sure in the book that I read where they talked about a lot of the women being considered witches, it had to do with the same things that women are considered witches for now. If they are highly successful, if they take on any like what they consider masculine coded traits where they are aggressive or assertive, if they're educated, the whole cat thing, the cat lady thing comes from that time period because of the fact that when women had cats, they didn't have as much disease as everybody else because of the fact that at that time there was a very rapid, because they,
the plague was there,
very nasty people, all right? But people who were cleaner, which truthfully tend to be poor women, when they were cleaner and they had cats, those cats chased away like the mice and rodents, which really was the thing that was bringing the disease. So because those women didn't have disease, they made the assumption that, oh, you must just be cursing the rest of us. So that means we have to, unalive that state, which doesn't make sense. But this is the rationale behind why it is men harm women in the way that they do, which is what the red pill community is.
I was going to say something because if you think about it, then how were those at that time? How were those women living alone? That's the whole thing that leads into the whole land grab thing, because how were they living alone at that time? Like you couldn't own land if you were a woman. It wasn't like, women could like own apartments and shit and live on their own. So if the women were surviving, that means they were alone with their cats. And that's what that lady was saying, that the women had got the land passed down to them from their husbands that passed away. They were widows or they were their dads, the men had passed away in their family and they gave them the land, and they just used that as the excuse, but it really was just a land grab. And if you accuse she said like if you the land would sometimes go to the person who accuses the woman of witchcraft, it would go to the higher ups in the city, the officials, the community, whatever. And once she said that, like it's one of those things like when you hear it, you go, nah, that's true. Like I'm gonna look it up, but I was like, nah, I believe that.
Because if you think about it, the same reality is poorer women had more autonomy, and it was because of the fact that when they talk about back in the day, they used to really marry really young women, blah blah blah. They weren't talking about regular, average, everyday people. Even at the time, that was considered disgusting. That wasn't considered something that was a common practice. It was common practice for people with money, and the reason why we are taught that it was common practice because whose history do we get? We don't get the history of people who were poor. We don't get the history of people who were disenfranchised. We get the history of the people who had the money and who had the access. When we get the art that we get is not of everyday average people. Those are we see commissioned art by people who have money, in the same way that we see the music videos we see now won't be a reflection of us 100 years from now. Just like the political climate we have is not a reflection of the people and how they feel. It's a reflection of the ultra rich. And even then, you have people who were a representation of the whole, who weren't really the whole. Those women were able to have land and access. So like you said, when you talk about trying to divvy up resources and assets, when you're talking about poor people, a lot of times they were completely dismissed, and that was wrong. But in the same way, it helped them because of the fact that they were overlooked. So who cares if you had if I got 500 acres and you got one, who cares where? Go ahead, you keep your little funky acre. Except when you have when you start to think about how many women started to access that and how many women were able to do that, that's when it starts to become a problem. Just like now, you have too many poor people who getting educated. You got too many poor people who starting to figure out how to get access outside of what the social hierarchy has decided is okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the issue comes in, and that's when that boat can't be rocked too much. And a lot of men adapt those same the ideas that men had in the 15th and 16th century are the same exact ones that they have now. The excuses that they had in the 15th and 16th century is the same as the ones they have.
It's the same shit. Yep. I've read so many like articles and like clippings from the things that men were saying back then and what men say now. And like I got a video from like the 1980s, even, which ain't that far back, but you know, the 80s is 40 years ago now. But even the men in the 80s, verbatim, the exact same shit that I've heard every man, Cool K, whatever, they say the exact same fucking thing. I've heard the women say that when the women said what their problem was with men, it was the same exact thing 150 years ago. It was nothing different. I promise y'all, it was nothing different. It was verbatim, word for word, the same exact thing. It was like, men are violent, men don't love us, men don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm paraphrasing, but it was the same. It wasn't like, oh, he doesn't help me with my corset. And it wasn't like coded for the 1800s. It was like literally the exact same thing, because the behaviors are exactly the same. The behavior has not changed. It's the same fucking behavior.
And the last thing I'll say is the funniest example of that I will never get tired of using is that Usher's Confessions is literally no different than Augustine's Confessions. Augustine's Confessions in AD was like 400 or 300, something like that. He literally made I think it's a 2 or 3 book series. I have one of the books because and that book was insanely expensive. It was like $175. Don't ask me why I bought it, please. But Augustine's Confessions talked about how he couldn't control his body. He couldn't control his wee-wee. He kept sleeping with women. He kept lying to them. And he wanted God to give him control over his body. Like, if you think about even, and I ain't going to bring the Bible in. I can just stick to this one example. In that book, all he talks about is begging God for a way to control himself, which he never actually does because of all of his indiscretions and the weird, wild, smeck stuff that he wanted to do consistently and how he was confessing about it. Like, niggas really been out here being outrageous since the 14th and 15th centuries. Like, quite literally. And it's kind of insane that they can consistently use the same lines and the same lies for hundreds of years, while women have been forced to evolve because of the fact that they want better, not only for themselves, but also for the community. Like, here's a
hold on, wait, real quick. You gotta hit the gong. Hey, Sarah said, Abid, we don't deal with rapists. She got that boy up on out of here. Go ahead, Iron Man.
Yeah, I said, here is a horrific fact regarding land grab. Women in Africa, powerful women in Africa, were revered. Some of them were even worshipped as goddesses until colonization. When colonization came, these same women became witches.
Mm-hmm.
Hunted them down and took away their land. Those land, and they usually look for land that they know rich in resources. And if they find it and it belongs to a woman, then that woman becomes weak. They will kill her. They will drive her out of her land and take over. So they did this everywhere. The witch hunt.
Yeah, public. Real quick, public.
Yeah.
You mentioned Cool K for something. I didn't quite get that. I don't understand.
Oh, I was saying that everything that I've heard you say, like about like everything that you guys say about like the, you know, like what's going on between men and women.
Repudiate anything that pertains to other men. I'm a man on my own.
You're not. And it's dumb. That is extremely ignorant to say nobody.
Specifically, what did I say?
Nobody can say that. You grew up around people. You grew up in society. You have been socialized like everybody has. You are not your quote unquote own person. That's just dumb.
Specifically, what
I'll just say it. Just in general, the shit you say, the men were saying the same stupid shit 100 years ago. What's up, man?
Yeah, well, I'm going to repudiate everything he says because I don't side, like I said. I don't go along with what these guys say. I say what God says. So that's why I'm going to make that distinction. So you're going to try to lump me with someone, be specific, and this way we can address what you think I believe, what you think I say. So,
all right. We don't care. Y'all got anything else you want to add to the situation?
Yeah, another point. What we're fighting against is not individual men, it's a system.
Yep.
Patriarchy.
Mm-hmm.
And that system was indoctrinated not only into men, into women too.
Mm-hmm.
There are some women that are even more patriarchal than men. They are the gatekeepers of patriarchy. So if you segregate women, you're not getting rid of patriarchy. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I don't think they care about getting rid of patriarchy though, unfortunately. It's a Iron Man, I appreciate you coming up though. I'm about to wind the situation down. You gotta get a hold of that background music, brother. I don't know what's going on with you.
Go ahead, cool.
yeah, no, real quick. I just want to thank you, host, for bringing me up. I'm getting ready to, and I want to just pay you a compliment. I like the shirt. Where do you normally go and get your shirts and stuff?
A lot of places. This one is from ASOS though.
Yeah, that's what's up. All right.
Appreciate it. Thanks, baby.
Don't forget, Jesus is the way. God bless everyone. All right. Later.
All right, go ahead, Cloud.
One more thing to kind of just throw out there. So I don't believe segregation is possible. I was just curious how women would feel about it. So that's why I kind of threw it out there. But the actual solution, I think, to specifically dating is solved by technology, basically. So have you seen a movie called Companion? Heard of it?
Mm-mm.
It's on HBO Max right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is personally what I think is the most likely scenario going forward for both of us. Essentially, it's kind of spoiler, I guess, robot AI companions for each other, basically. And I think that's going to be the case because we already see some of this happening now. So
only men will do that.
Well, hold on. You see currently there are specific AIs created right now to provide emotional support, emotional attention to women that women are using in higher and higher numbers. I forget one of the names, like what his name's Charles or something like that. There's a name for one of these AI specifically. Women will talk to these AI and
my wife uses Chat GPT all the time, but men are the ones that's like hunching the Smex robots and shit like that. Like
it's not Chat GPT. It's not Chat GPT.
No, I know.
It's built for this thing in particular, for like emotional labor, if you will. And so women use these. There's like TikToks you can find of this, of like having these like cute conversations, things they want from real life men. This is already starting to happen. And yes, as you said, men do quote unquote like abuse like Smex, machines, things like that already. This is the direction that both are already headed towards because neither side is getting what they want from each other. So men aren't getting Smex from women, the men who can't, whatever, and women are not getting emotional support from men. And so they're going to find that in technology. That's what I think is actually going to
happen. Women get emotional support from other women.
Yo, what's up, bro?
What's good?
Can I talk on the topic?
Absolutely.
How have women ruined the dating market? Well, I'm gonna get really specific. Have you ever heard the term wholeflation?
Yeah.
304-flation, let's just be friendly for TikTok. Well, 304-flation basically for the audience is that the philosophy that men have to pay 3 times as much to get women like their grandmothers that their grandfathers got for women that are 3 times as worse as their grandfathers.
So there's an inflation on the value of women we're getting caliber wise. And I know you're gonna ask me how to explain that. And I'm gonna start with the biggest one men care about the most is what? Chastity, body count, all that stuff, puritanical culture bullshit.
I don't think men care about that shit at all.
You don't think men care about body counts?
I know for a fact men don't care about body counts.
What makes you say that?
Because they themselves would hold on. Hey, hold on.
Sorry, my bad, sir.
First and foremost, if they cared about body counts, they would care about their own body counts. Secondly, they don't care about body counts because you don't know how many sexual partners a woman has had. So you can't care about, how do you care about something that you can never confirm? It doesn't even make sense.
I'll give you a fact that's going to blow all that what you said out the water. Men universally and culturally care about their daughter's virginity and chastity more than their sons.
That is irrelevant to what I just said, though.
How is that irrelevant?
Because unless you are talking about sleeping with your daughter, how is that relevant?
No, it's showing you how men's relationship with women is different than men's relationship with men.
That doesn't prove that. That just proves that men are more controlling of people that are closer to them.
Okay, we can get to that, but I'm kind of getting away from the 304 inflation thing. So what I was saying is, okay, let's look at we always hear about traditional men. They want traditional men. Men aren't traditional anymore. They ain't real men anymore. So like 1970 is a good model, right? That was right. In 1970, the body count, 80% of women had 2 bodies or less before marriage. Now, 20% got 20 plus. You got 20 by 20s, 30 by 30s. You think men are going to value those the same way they value their grandmother? Come on, and pay twice as much for her? It's like, Jesus, man. That's worse than the price of eggs and shit.
So,
market, right?
So you think that women are I'm sorry, that men can't afford the women of today?
No, I think men value chastity, and that's a long gone.
They don't value chastity because they themselves aren't chaste.
Okay. I'll give you the study.
Hey, if I'm talking, don't talk, please.
Okay.
I don't know why. Like, don't. It's okay. We're having a conversation. So men don't care about chastity because they don't care about their own chastity. Men try to weaponize the concept of chastity to control women's behaviors, but they don't actually care about chastity. That's what I'm saying. So you could tell me there's no study that's going to say that men. There's no study. There's no study. It's not even something that could be studied. That men, again, because you cannot confirm how many partners a woman has had. That's my point. You can't prove that she's a virgin. You can't disprove she's a virgin. The only way you can do that is if she had a child. That's it. And if she ain't fucking Mary Magdalene, right? Outside of that, there is no way for you to know how many sexual partners a woman has had. So if that woman says she slept with 2 dudes, she slept with 2 dudes. How the fuck do you know?
By sleeping with her homegirls. That's one easy way. But anyway.
What?
There's other ways.
Wait, what? Hold on.
By sleeping with her homegirls and getting the information out of them. That's how.
That's dumb.
That's smart.
That's goofy.
It's worked before. Hey, it works. If it works, it works.
That's
right?
goofy. So that doesn't work.
According to you, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work in reality.
Evidence that's going to blow up this thing you're thinking of, okay? I'm going to give you all of it. 37 country study, evolutionary psychologist, Dr. David Buss, proves women value socioeconomic status over physical attraction. Cross-culturally, men value physical attraction over socioeconomic status. Women value height, masculinity, dominance, bravery, socioeconomic status, and attributes linked to resource acquisition. Okay? And guess what? Guess what else men value that women don't? Chastity. So you're completely wrong. And this guy's been cited 7,000 times. Go on Google Scholar.
I think like I said, again, a man can say, I care about how many bodies a woman has. I'm not saying that they don't say that or they don't feel that way.
Do you think they tell researchers though?
Hold on, bro. Again, I don't care if a man says that that's what he feels like. I'm not arguing with that. I know men say that all the time. They say they care, but I'm not debating that one bit. What I'm saying is there is no way for a man to know how many partners a woman has. So my point is that
challenge that though.
Sir, I don't know what you're saying while I'm talking, because I'm literally talking.
I literally said 3 words. I challenged that. That's all I
You
said.
can't challenge something while I'm talking. You're not challenging anything. You're just saying stupid shit. Like, let's be for real. You trolling.
I'm the only one with facts, bro.
It's not a fact.
Where's your studies? Where's your research of anything you just said?
About what? What do you want me to prove?
Anything, any claim you
That hold on, I'll prove it. Hold on, wait. You want there to be the
Go prove that men don't care.
all right, hold on. So you want me to prove that there's no way to prove if a woman's a virgin? You want me to prove that? What the fuck are you talking about? You can't prove if a woman's a virgin. You can't prove how many sexual partners a woman has. What do I need? What study do I need to prove that? What the fuck are you talking about?
Okay, can I talk now?
Yes, obviously.
Well, I'm not obvious. Okay,
Bro, do you have autism?
No, bro.
Then why the fuck don't you know how to have a conversation then? You talk, hold on. So you talk when other people are talking, and then when they ask you questions, then you play dumb and go, "Can I talk now?" Nigga, the fuck is wrong with you? Are you okay?
I'm fine.
God damn, y'all niggas are so fucking dumb. This shit is crazy. Go ahead, man.
I'm cooking you with research.
Bro, hey, hold on, wait.
Can you tell me where can you tell me where you can prove that men don't value chastity?
Yes, I can. I just proved it. What research? Sir, again, hold on. Again, for the 4th time, can you prove how many bodies a woman has? Can that be proven? No. If a woman tells you that she hasn't slept with anybody, hold on. If a woman tells you that she hasn't slept with anybody, you can't disprove it or prove it, right? Unless she has a baby. Beyond that, you can't prove it or disprove it, right?
Not absolutely.
You can't. It's impossible. You can't. So listen to what no, you can't talk while I'm fucking talking, bro.
For like 10 minutes, bro.
Bro. Literally my life. So my point is this. This is what I'm saying about men. If men cared about chastity, right? If they do care about it, I'm saying it doesn't work. It's dumb because you can't prove if the woman's a virgin or not. You can't prove how many bodies she has. That's all I'm saying. I literally just said a man can say, I care about how many bodies a woman has. I'm not denying that. I've heard a plenty of men say that. I've heard that before. My point is, though, it's stupid because you can't prove how many bodies she has. How can you care about something that you can't prove? It doesn't make sense. It's illogical.
It's not illogical because there's correlates with high body count.
Oh my fucking God.
I'll give you some.
No, I don't. I don't care.
Oh, you don't
it's not. It's irrelevant to what we're talking about.
Abuse dependency disorder. You don't care about that.
No. Not for this argument.
Anxiety, reckless behavior, parental involvement with her father.
So you care more about. So it's not about the body count. It's about making sure that they don't have other destructive behaviors, which makes sense. I care if my woman is addicted to drugs. I care if she's an alcoholic. Yeah.
So you should care. Then you should care that women statistically significantly, with higher body counts are more likely to be addicted to substance abuse dependency.
Are you not listening? Whether I care about it or not is irrelevant.
Okay.
That's my point. Whether I can care about it, brother, I could care about it all I want to. It could be important to me, right? My point is I can't prove it or disprove it. So what would actually, you would be making my point. The thing that you would care about more would be her fucking behavior. So if she drinks a lot, you're like, I don't like that. Because you don't know how many she could be an alcoholic virgin. You don't fucking know. So so you care more about men, people, this makes sense, that you would care more about the destructive behaviors or tendencies of a human being. Totally agree with that. Totally agree. Do we care if a woman is addicted to drugs? Yes, we care. Especially if you're not. That makes sense. You're not addicted to drugs. You don't want a woman that's addicted to drugs. Yep, I believe that.
Let me ask you a question. Do women with high body counts, do they have good or negative emotional and psychological outcomes?
Do women with what's a high body count? That's
okay. The women that are involved in casual smacks that have high body counts. Let's say 20 by 20.
20 by 20, bro. That's extreme.
20 years old. You think that's extreme?
Yeah.
I can show you a study right now at a Cornell where women with 20 plus body counts in their 20s are isolating their friends that are also promiscuous.
The percentage of, first of all, the percentage of women,
rubbing off on them.
the percentage of women in their 20s that's 20 years old that have 20 bodies that's low. That's my point. Yeah.
Well, I don't know
It's not 20% of women by 20, but overall you're saying 20% of women have over 20. Totally different thing. And secondly, what causes typically what is a cause of people being hypersexual?
Mental illness.
What is
trauma?
You said what?
Abuse.
Okay, so really, hold on.
Fatherless.
Not fatherless, nothing. So we were almost there. So it's not about how many bodies they have. It's about the abuse that they suffered. Typically, that's what it is. Again, so the way that you are having this conversation is right because you're so addicted to this, like, you know, you're like a weird, like grapey type dude or whatever. So you think it's like cool to like harp on like body count and shit and like purity culture and stuff like that, even though you yourself got a dirty dick and you know what I mean? Like you've been sleeping around your whole life, but all of a sudden you want some 20-year-old woman to not have a high body count, which is like, you know, it's weird. But I'm saying that the point is that if a woman has a high body count, if a man has a high body count, typically that is related to them being abused as a child. So what you really don't want is a person that was abused as a child. That's what that is the source. The source of the problem isn't the high body count. The high body count is a symptom. It's a reaction to abuse. The same way the D-rug abuse, and those are the things that actually will negatively impact you in a relationship.
What about your reputation? Does that follow you around? Do people talk? Do they gossip? Do people know about your business?
Do you see how you don't? You wait. So what are you not under? You have to acknowledge what I'm saying right now before you move and pivot. Acknowledge what I'm saying right now.
You said a lot to like.
Okay, then fucking shut up and listen. Stop listening to respond and listen to understand. What I just said was, if the cause of the behavior because the symptom is a high body count, that's the symptom. The symptom is promiscuity. That's not the actual cause of it. The cause of it is the trauma and the abuse that they suffered or AB that they suffered as children and adolescents, right? So that is really the problem. I just asked you just said it. Now you mumbling. That is the overriding factor, brother. Why do you think people are extremely promiscuous? Why do most extreme behaviors happen in people, sir? Especially a 20-year-old.
Mental illness?
From what?
You think you're always mental illness from trauma?
Most mental illnesses, sir. Some. So what mental illness causes? Hold on. Listen. What mental illness is connected to promiscuity? Name it.
BPD.
What is BPD? Bipolar?
Bipolar disorder
and what can
so boom.
Yep. And can you and can abuse cause it to can I become Batman? This tip? No, you can't.
Why not?
Because you're broke. So can you hold on, wait. Batman is rich. Batman is like one of the wealthiest people in the world. You can't become Batman, you're poor. I'm just, brother, you just asked me a stupid question. I gave you an answer. You mad? Hold on. You can't fight and you're poor. I'll give you two answers. You can't fight and you're poor. How about that? That's two answers. You're too short. You're too slow. You can't fight. You're not smart enough. I got 4 answers now. And you're poor. That's 5. I gave you 5 reasons why you can never be Batman. Now can we move around? So my point is, and since you brought up BPD, which is not necessarily directly connected to having sex, but I'm just going to play your game. That would BPD also can happen from doing D-rugs when you're young or whenever. Like marijuana can bring that out of a person. Also abuse can bring that out of a person. So again, oftentimes it is connected to abuse, either the abuse of D-rugs or them being abused themselves. That's what I'm saying.
I agree. Now can I move to the next point?
No.
I agree. Why?
Because then what are you? Hold on, wait. So
all you're saying bro, is it's possible that they call this behavior is caused by trauma. It's also
I'm not saying it's possible. I'm saying I'm naming the thing. Sir, I'm naming the thing that is actually the cause of it. And listen to what I'm listen. Promiscuity isn't good or bad.
Are you sure about
Yes, I'm 100% sure of it. Okay. Promiscuity in and of itself isn't good or bad. If you want to be promiscuous, then why is it bad? If you don't want to be, if you're being promiscuous as a response to trauma, it's probably going to be bad. But if you just choose to be promiscuous because you want to sleep with a bunch of people, how the fuck is that bad? Where is the bad coming from?
Because women that have high body counts and are promiscuous,
it is connected to the abuse that they already suffered when they were children, which you can't fucking separate. And you want to do this thing where you isolate promiscuity from everything else because you don't understand how it works. That's what I'm saying, bro. You don't know what you're talking about. That's all I'm trying to tell you. You don't know anything about psychology. You know nothing about it. Human behavior, nothing. All you have are talking points, and they're not working. They don't stick. See what I'm saying? You just said that promiscuity, men care about promiscuity. Okay, cool. But tell me how promiscuity in and of itself is negative. Not what it can lead to. I'm saying the actual act of promiscuity. How is it negative?
Can I talk now? Because I have this.
Obviously, you can talk if I ask you a fucking question.
I just wanted to make sure you was done monologue.
So you don't know how to, again, do you have autism? Are you okay? I just want you to answer the question. Bro, we're not debating. This isn't a debate.
Let me make my point, bro. I'm sure you said that there have no bad outcomes for women.
That's not what I said.
I'm going to list all the emotional, negative, bad outcomes.
Oh my God. Again, this shit is boring because y'all are too dumb and you're too disingenuous. Listen to what I'm saying. Again, I asked you, what is bad about promiscuity in and of itself, like isolated? But don't tell me about what could happen. What I'm saying is promiscuity in it up. Like, here's what I'm saying. Grape is bad, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't need to talk about like what could happen. No. Grape in and of itself is a bad thing. Cool.
Bad.
It's bad. Every single time grape is bad. Okay, cool. Promiscuity. Tell me how promiscuity is bad.
Promiscuity is bad for women, good for men.
You didn't answer my question. You're a fucking robot. Answer the question.
You want me to tell you how it's bad for women?
Yes, obviously. I've asked you 4 times. Yes. Okay, tell me how it's bad in general.
Promiscuity is bad for women because it goes against their biological mating strategy.
How is it bad for women? Again, no, it's not, sir. Sir, I'm not letting you explain something because you don't have the answer. That's not what I'm asking you. Again, I'll give the example. Grape is bad. In and of itself, in a vacuum, outside a vacuum, grape is bad. We don't need any, it's bad because it goes again. No, it's bad. The act of grape, when you do it, is a bad thing while you're doing it. Not potential reverberating repercussions. That's not what I'm asking you. Again, promiscuity. How is it bad? Not if they are mating to have a child or anything like that. Because you could be 70 years old and not be able to have a child.
Are you touched or something?
Or you could be, no, don't try that with me. I understand. This is me explaining to you, right? So I've asked you 4 fucking times to tell me, is promiscuity in and of itself a bad thing? That's all I want to know. If you have to bring up fucking biology and mating strategies and shit, then it wouldn't apply.
That makes no sense. By that standard, sure, it's bad. Promiscuity bad.
How is it bad?
Hurts women.
How?
Emotionally negative.
No, it's not emotionally negative.
Want me to read the proof right now?
Sir, right, there is no proof.
Let me read the proof and stop fucking filibustering, bro. Jesus. I let you talk forever. Can I read?
How do you let me talk on my panel? It's my fucking live. You ain't letting me do shit.
Listen, evolutionary and social psychology perspectives suggest that women experience more negative psychological consequences following casual sex than men, including regret, anxiety, and decreased overall mental well-being. Fisher and all 2012, Kinnear and all Townsend Wasserman 2011. In addition to psychological, there are also a range of health implications of casual sex. Clearly, pregnancy and an STI.
Yeah, you have to stop, because those would be that again, because I'm not talking about what could happen, right?
No, we're talking about what's happening in now.
No, you're talking about first. I'm gonna say two things. A, you said the word suggest. B, you're talking about potential repercussions of being promiscuous. I didn't ask you, how can promiscuity be bad? I asked you, why is promiscuity bad? In this discussion, it's not bad for your health if you use protection and if both of you are clean. Hold on. Listen. If you don't have a disease and the women you sleep with don't have diseases, then you're not risking. It's not if. It literally happens all the time. There's a whole industry. Where people get tested all the time. So if you take the precautions and you have, again, the person that you're sleeping with has to have an STI. So there's ifs in your fucking stupid ass made up word. In your scenario, there are ifs involved. There is no ifs in what I'm asking you. If promiscuity is bad, then it should be bad in a vacuum. It should be bad in and of itself. There shouldn't be any ifs. That's what I've been saying this whole time. And you can't give me how promiscuity is bad. So just say it's not bad. But there could be some bad outcomes if you are promiscuous. And I would agree, because that's logical. Saying promiscuity in and of itself is bad, though, as a definitive statement, is wrong. And that's what you tried to do.
About what you just said. Can you name one rule of logic? One law of logic?
One law of logic?
Yeah.
You need to be logical when we have these discussions.
One law of logic.
You named it.
Just got cooked over and over and over.
How? Hold on. Wait. This is what I want to know. Stop. You haven't answered my question. That's the funniest thing. I asked you. Hold on. All I asked you to do was tell me, how is promiscuity bad in and of itself? Again, my example would be grape. Grape bad all the time. You don't need to be. Hold on, wait. Listen to what I'm saying. If a person is great, you don't need a disease to happen. There's no like, what if the woman gets pregnant? What if the rapist catches an STI or he gives an STI to a woman? There's nothing else that goes there, right? There's nothing if, ands, or buts about it. Grape bad. See how I made that example? Now I asked you to do the same thing with promiscuity, and you said, let me read the study. The study says it suggests, blah, blah. As soon as you said that, you already you lost the plot. So you're just yapping. Just say that it's not bad in and of itself. But again, bad things can happen.
Okay. So your argument, I'm gonna try to steel man you and get your argument right? I'm a good intention. Your argument is that promiscuity in itself isn't bad unless you're promiscuous?
No, you fucking idiot. Promiscuity isn't bad unless something bad happens. So there needs to be a bad thing that happens to you for it to be. Hold on. The bad thing wouldn't be promiscuity. The bad thing would be you getting an STI. And by the way, you can get an STI and not be promiscuous. Women get STIs all the time from their spouses. Women will be sleeping with one man and get an STI from that one man. She's not being promiscuous. Can women orgasm from SA? So you're gonna steal that dumbass argument that weird dude just did on the whatever podcast? Yeah, women can orgasm during SA. Can you orgasm if a doctor sticks his thumb up your butt and checks your prostate?
I wouldn't know. You can tell me though.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can ejaculate. So you've been raped before? Is that how you know?
No.
Yeah, exactly. Shut your stupid ass up. Shut your stupid ass up. Got him. You're not fast enough. You think too slow. You're not that quick. So again, you're trying to use that same argument. By the way, you're stealing somebody else's act. I've already debunked this. I did a whole video on this already. You're dumb like that other guy. Just because a person orgasms from, hold on, wait, hold on. Just because a woman orgasms during SA doesn't mean SA is good, you fucking idiot. It doesn't mean that they liked it. It doesn't mean that it all's well that ends well. It's bad all the fucking time, right? That was terrible. So again, and that's why I brought up, if a doctor sticks his 2 fingers up your fucking butthole to check your prostate and you ejaculate, which happens sometimes when people get their prostate checked, are you gay? If a male doctor sticks his 2 fingers up your butt and you ejaculate, are you now gay? Did you like that? Was that a good thing? Are you into butt play? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? It is a manual. That is the inference, you fucking idiot. You don't even know his argument. You just, hold on, wait. You just stole his argument and you didn't even know what point he was trying to make, you fucking dummy. You just stole that man's argument and you didn't know what he was trying to say. What do you think he was trying to say? What do you think he was trying to say? What do you think that white man who you stole that argument from, what do you think he was trying to say?
He was trying to say that women must appeal to men to get their rights, and he's 100%
That
right.
wasn't what he was saying with that argument. What was that argument pertaining to specifically?
That argument was to prove dummies like you.
You don't, okay, so you don't have the answer. So you don't have the answer? Okay. You don't have many answers. You talk a lot. You don't have a lot of answers though.
I'm literally giving you the answer.
That's not the answer.
Did you watch it?
Yes, I watched that clip.
So let's be honest. You know what an internal critique is? No, of course you don't, because you don't even know one law of logic. Internal critique is when you adopt an argument and you pretend that it's your argument so you can critique it from inside. What he was trying to demonstrate is that all because something can happen, which is you've been trying to demonstrate all day long, it doesn't mean shit because you can't.
Up, they ended the live. Well, we'll see. I get my live band every looks like I get my live band every week now. It's crazy. I got suspended for a day. This dude is stupid as fuck though. Well, it's time for me to end it then. That was a good time to end it, I guess. What a fucking dummy. Bet I'll read them. Most men are ran through anyway. Carnita said, my first super chat. Keep keeping us safe, brother. I appreciate you. That's Esco. Appreciate you. BB said, what the fuck? Sex can be just as meaningless for women as it is for men. Doesn't mean that they have emotional issues. Yeah, they always like to act like every time a woman has sex with a man, she in love with that motherfucker. Amber said, women's reckless behavior. Meanwhile, he sleeps with her friends to dig up dirt, then brings up hellish dribble, and then dares to speak about chastity. Chastity. I said chastity. Right? Chastity. No, chastity. Yeah. Your favorite irritation says he hates that women aren't being 304s with him. He runs like a bunch of prompts about like how 40-year-old men should date 20-year-old girls and stuff. Your favorite irritation said, I promise men who actually get women don't talk like this. I don't know about that one. I think all men talk like that. Amber said promiscuity is a man's responsibility too. He can't hold women accountable to chastity if he cannot hold himself chaste. That's what I was saying. I'm like, if men cared about chastity, then why wouldn't men actually be chaste? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Bonji Baby said minors being groomed who have an O are still raped, but yeah, he's a part of the group that'll grape a minor too. Carnita said, can I fight him, chat? Call her a whole fool. Man, Sunrise E said, men like this caller wants untouched women, but can't keep their hands in themselves. That's not a preference. That's a delusion wrapped in hypocrisy. Yeah, that dude is a dummy. He doesn't make any sense. He has like a script. He has like a script, and he thinks like it makes sense, but it never adds up. It never adds up. When the scripts get challenged, it doesn't add up. Saying men care about promiscuity, and then you ask a man, well, can you prove that a woman is promiscuous? No, you can't. How can you care about something that you can never prove? Like, he couldn't connect the dot. That what I was saying was that if men care about it, they're dumb for caring about something that they can't prove. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying men don't care about it, right? My thing is, what men really want is they care about the image of a woman who is chaste, right? They care about the image. They don't actually care if the woman is physically chaste or not, because they don't know. They don't know. You don't know if a woman is chaste or not. You don't know if a woman is chaste or not. So how can you care about something that you don't know, that you can't prove or disprove? It doesn't make any sense. So then he started naming all the issues that could come with being promiscuous. And I'm like, yes, I can completely see how a man would care about a woman being on drugs. That makes sense. Yes, I can see how a man would care about a woman who has bipolar disorder, who, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can see a man caring about those things. Actually materially affect your world. But a woman who slept with 100 dudes, it could or it could. Like, but the reason why she slept with 100 men would actually be the problem. The reason why a woman at 20 years old would have slept with 20 men typically is related to her being abused as a child. Typically, I'm not saying with every woman. Some people just like to sleep with a bunch of people, and that's what I was saying. Promiscuity in and of itself isn't a bad thing. If you willingly go into the act of being promiscuous, and everybody is on board with it, then you know what I'm saying? Like, fuck it. Everybody's on board. Fuck it. How is it bad? Who are you hurting? You can be hurt by being promiscuous. It can have negative effects. It can, but it doesn't all the time. It doesn't. And that was all I was like, what are the negative effects? You tell us, what are the negative effects of being promiscuous? Amber said, dude had no morals, wants women to be perfect angels. Meanwhile, he is acting like a devil. He's a straight up demon. Bonji Baby said, I be saying my count is 3,000. See how dumb that question is? Exactly. A man asks a woman, what's her body count? And she tell that motherfucker 50, 500, 5, or 3. How he know? How he know? And I will also say this. The most promiscuous women that I know of, they got married. They got married. I mean, it ain't like marriage is an accomplishment, by the way. I'm just saying to the men that be acting like men care about promiscuous women. The most promiscuous women that I know personally, they all ended up getting married. They all ended up with husbands. They all ended. I don't know if they stayed married. I don't fucking care. Don't know. But they all ended up getting married. Had, you know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? And that's my anecdotal experience. I'm not saying like that's, you know what I'm saying? Like that's true or whatever. I'm just saying all the women I know personally that were extremely promiscuous, and I knew that they were like, they told, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know they said it. They admitted it. Yeah, look at them now. They're 40. They got fucking 3 kids. They're married. Most of them are married, or they were like, The fuck are we talking about? And the most promiscuous men also married. The biggest whores, the biggest male whores I know, married with children. What are you talking about? What are we saying here? What is the point? What is the point at this point? What is the point? What are we saying exactly? Uh-huh. Ah! Hold on, man. Oh my God. Let me plug up my phone. Hey, but Vivi said, if males cared about our body counts, why did a bunch of males line up to F that adult film actions? Exactly. And they would do it again. Gladly. They would gladly do it again. So that's the reality. Hey, but shout out to the tappers, yappers, and super chatters, man. I didn't get to say bye to I didn't get to say bye to all my TikTok people, but if you came over, shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to them old subs and the new subs, best mods in the business. I'm about to wrap this thing up. We did 3 hours, man. It was cracking. We was humping and jumping. It was good times. Y'all go check out the new videos though, man. We got them up. I'll see y'all next week. Damn, it's June 1st already. Okay. We out of here.